Your volume down. Evolution, the biggest lie ever told. We running this back. We got to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Me and my other half was just talking about how we love talking about how the opposite species is racist and how they're this and how they're that and the way that they treat us and the things that they say and the things that they do. It's like we can point out every single thing that these people do, behavior, which is genetic expression or phenotype, but we don't want to classify these people as being a different species. So we want to look at all the differences between and point out everything that's not the same. They can't take the sun. They this, they're pink skin, acute body radiation, sunburnt this. But the thing is, we don't understand as a community how that all equates to us not being the same species. That's the problem. We're looking at all these differences, but because as a community, we don't understand genetics, we don't understand DNA, we don't understand embryology. We're still talking about melanin, not understanding that there are 8 different types of melanin, 5 that are basic, 3 that are synthetic. We don't understand the truth. We want to use history and everything else that's been given to us, which keeps us confused, which keeps us double-minded, and not understanding we're not the same as these people. The only thing that can explain that is science. And I hear a lot of people say that this is YT science or this is not our science. There's only a small branch of sciences that could be considered YT science. Science is the study of the natural world. So I don't know how it could be white or black or anything. Because if we can all observe and see the same thing that nature has been doing for millions and billions of years, then that's just observation. That's just A plus B equals C. So it's not, oh, is it possible that? No, it will happen because we've got interstellar gases, we've got nanodiamonds, we've got radioactivity, we've got radiation, terrestrial radiation. It's not just the sun. So again, evolution is the biggest lie ever told. And when we began to understand as a community that we didn't go from haploids to diploids, we didn't go from prokaryotes to eukaryotes, then we'll be better off. Because right now they're trying to say that we're the monkey and that they came from us. That's what we don't understand as a community. If we look into every single part of the evolution theory and all the theories that encompass evolution, it debunks itself. Speciation and looking at the new species that arise under evolution will debunk evolution. So we ran this title the other day. I'm gonna wait for more people to get in here, wait for it to get more into the algorithm. Welcome in, y'all, tap and share. But this is what we're gonna have to keep driving home. We're not the same as these people.
Yeah, we all got to talk about this.
Yeah.
And if we know that the evolution theory is a lie, why are we still allowing this inorganic species to police us, medically evaluate us, and to
Yo,
psychologically evaluate us? Go ahead.
Facts.
do you guys realize how it's the evolution that you're saying, right? Do you guys realize on the picture on the left side is Obama? Is that Obama or who is that? His wife?
Are we all the same species?
No, the one on the left is a black person.
Can you explain to us how we went from haploids to diploids since you're saying that? You're trying to be funny, but this is
No,
a
I'm not trying
heavily
to be funny.
scientific discussion.
I seriously don't get it.
So
What do you mean
are you
we?
insinuating that you come from us? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Explain to me how we went from haploids to
I
diploids.
don't know. I just seen the photo and
Okay,
I
so
seen.
then you shouldn't be saying shit that you can't explain as a grown man.
Okay, but so we evolved from the black people. Is what you're trying to tell me?
So do you understand that we have completely different embryology? Y'all
Okay.
don't come from us. Y'all stem from a completely different embryological origin.
Right. So you guys come from monkeys then, right?
No, y'all come from monkeys. Yeah, I'm
Gotti.
not. Yeah, I'm
Gotti.
not. I'm not finna play with a grown man. Like you trying to guide him. The thing is you have hybridized genetics. The sun don't know you. The earth don't know you. The real question is how did a chimpanzee, a pig, a cat, a dog, a mouse, celery, potato, and yeast all get within your genome, and those things can naturally reproduce with themselves? You're laughing, but the number one question in the world is how did the eukaryotic cell get here? Scientists are crashing out in their own laboratories, finding out or trying to figure out how the hell they got here, and the only explanation is introgression. Laugh all you want.
And the simple building block to your protein and then your cell and then your tissue, organ systems and your organism, you have the same amino acid structure. It's called cytochrome C as a chimpanzee. We don't have that as so-called black people because you can't splice into our DNA. All scientists, even John Biggerstaff, a cell biologist, when they try to cut into so-called black people's DNA, it actually absorbs the UV light that is trying to cut the cell like a black hole. So we don't have that in our DNA. And when you like shave a monkey, it actually has pink mucus skin, pink skin like y'all.
Go ahead, go ahead. I don't know how to pronounce
How
your
you
name. My
doing?
bad. Gratitude,
Thank
abundance.
you for
Welcome
letting
up.
me up.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What's going on, y'all?
they don't follow what the 18th century did. They always say that we come from the monkeys, primates. And it's like, you have to look into Carl Linnaeus to find out where this theory came from. Well, Carl Linnaeus seen it in Kemet. What he did was he assigned another species called the simi to primitive man. And instead of attributing it to the original, which was a primate, that's what he did. And he did this because the simi had wavy hair. So now, and as an afterthought, everyone else jumped on and said, oh, evolution, primates. But we don't look like primates. We don't. Thank you.
I'm gonna disagree right there. I am pro evolution.
We do one at a time here. So when somebody is expressing their thoughts and visions, we allow that individual to express it fully. And then,
My fault.
yeah, so go ahead, sister, go ahead and express what you got to say so we can
Okay.
touch up on that.
One more thing. Our arms are different. Our facial structure. Oh, sorry. Come here. Quiet. Our arms are different. Our facial structure is different. Our legs, our bodily parts are different. So all I'm saying is it had to be one from the other with admixture. That's the only way it makes sense. Thank you.
So again, evolution is explaining that eukaryotes came from prokaryotes, except for that could never have happened. The base premise that evolution is claiming is how we went from haploids to diploids, and no scientist to date has ever been able to explain, because you can't get the cat, the dog, the pig, all the genetic material that these people share DNA with naturally from procreation. It's not just about us as people. We have to understand that these people they share DNA with unnatural microorganisms, unnatural plants, unnatural insects, unnatural animals. So we really have to start understanding DNA composition and biochemical substances.
Yep.
So when it comes down to melanin, you see what I'm saying? Pheomelanin is what insects and animals have, these people have vitrosynthetic pheomelanin and eumelanin. So these people are below nature because they have introgress genes. Neanderthals are not 100% Neanderthals. They have introgress genes. Denisovans are not 100% Denisovans. A quick Google search will tell you that these species have introgress genes. So the people that are saying that they come from us, admixture, we got to be able to articulate and explain, how do you get vitrosynthetic eumelanin and pheomelanin from neuromelanated species?
When all vitrosynthetic melanins are lab created, they're made in labs. Our DNA, when you study so-called black people's DNA, they're forged in stars and created by stardust, which holds genes and chemicals and blueprints to create galaxies and solar systems. This is what lies inside of the so-called black woman.
So I was just getting ready to get to the M whoever, but they left. Typically, whenever we start getting into the science, somebody will leave. But go ahead, the two. I seen you come up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with what the prompt is saying. Matter of fact, I also want to add this because I haven't been on here the whole time. I'm a Black American, but I wanted to add this. Is that Charles Darwin was actually a racist. He had racist ideologies that he also spoke about as well. And Charles Darwin is who created the idea of the evolutionary process. Now, scientists still goes along with that ideology, knowing that he was a racist, just because they can't prove anything other than they don't want to do any other research outside of that the research that he did. So I just wanted to add that point in. And I'm finna go back on mute. I'm finna cook me a little dinner, but I wanted to add that point in because a lot of people don't know that Charles Darwin was indeed a racist, and a lot of his ideologies of people coming from monkeys comes from a racist ideology.
Okay,
Yes, he's
thank you for
racist.
expressing that. I disagree because 75 years before Charles Darwin was able to create and formulate evolutionary thought with Darwinism, 1785 Hutton theory, James Hutton already debunked evolution. So the evolutionary, the origins of evolutionary thought has been a discussion, but I do understand what you're saying. He was a so-called racist or whatever, but the thing is like racist and racism should not be the base premise of why we don't listen to these people. These people are not the same species. So for all life, there are two cellular form types. You are either prokaryotic, unicellular functioning, or eukaryotic, multicellular functioning. These people do not stem from the same embryological origin as us. They don't function the same. They don't have the same protein synthesis, different integumentary system. They don't get 50-50, like they're a completely different organism. So that's got to be the basis of why we separate ourselves, is because the sun is separating them. The sun is separating us. You know what I'm saying? So if we look at all over the globe, these people are being unalived by the millions, which is a number that is quadrupling. Every single year, we're seeing the numbers amp up of the chromosomal deletion syndromes because the sun, terrestrial radiation, solar radiation. 1p36 syndrome is amping up. 1q32. Every single chromosome that these people have is being depleted just because of the sun. That's got to be the base premise. We got to drop racism. Okay, race is not biological, so we got to start talking about biology.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I was completely uninformed of that matter at all. So I appreciate y'all for sharing y'all perspective on the matter. I just learned something today.
Yeah,
Facts.
and these people are just oh, go ahead, mother, go ahead. No problem.
It came out of 18th century Enlightenment theories. And all they were suppositions that didn't have any facts behind them. And you mentioned that one, Skyway, I think it is. You mentioned that one, and he was alongside of Mr. Carl Linnaeus, you see, because they were trying to decide some type of racial hierarchy to promote one over the other. And it was a very racist period in this world's history. And I thank you, dear, for letting me up. Bye-bye.
Okay, abundance for that. like I wanted to touch up on that is that these people are not racist. They're Freemasons. You see what I'm saying? And that they're part of a secret society that is controlled by another secret society of extraterrestrials. And Freemasons barely even know what's going on. And there's millions of them around the world. And they're excuse us. They're here to hide the my fault, y'all. They're here to hide the genetic material that the so-called black woman possess because she is immortal. So that's why, like, all their theories of evolution, all their scientific theories is them trying to merge our anatomy with theirs. So that's why hospitals and other medical facilities exist, is because it's to enhance their DNA, because they're having chromosomal deletions under the sun. Their cells can't hold the heat, vibration, and pressure that the sun is emitting. So that's what's going on. And he wasn't a scientist. You see what I'm saying? So all they're trying to do is hide the genetic fact that we are immortal, so they can keep extracting our stem cells and our red blood cells on the low. This is why 8 million children go missing worldwide, and half of them, more than half of them, look like us. This is why you see so many so-called black women globally missing. This is why you see so many black men go globally missing. It's because of our DNA, our genetic material. So we have to understand that our identity is not a title. Our identity is our genetics, which makes our whole body function, which connects to the universe, which connects to the sun, which connects to the earth. That's what I wanted
Yeah,
to
so
say.
there's no such thing as African, African American, Black American, Solon, Native American, American Indian, Nigerian, Ugandan. All of those titles don't tell us anything about our DNA. All right, so that's the whole base premise of what he's saying. Go ahead, Herman. Gitman, I see that you're loading the comments up. Is there something that you wanted to express? Do you disagree with what we're saying in here, or like, what's up?
Well, I mean, it appears I initially commented because you said that evolution is a lie. I mean, I've observed evolution myself. Maybe not evolution, like you might think that evolution is large-scale species change, but obviously we haven't observed that. It takes millions of years. But we have observed small-scale species change all the time.
Well, the thing is, one thing that I've expressed is that evolution is one thing, but we have to understand all theories that fall under evolution and that are suggesting evolution. So I understand that evolution is a slow and gradual change, but speciation, right? The new species that are emerging and are coming about as a process of evolution is not taking millions of years. As a matter of fact, we can calculate gene frequency and allele frequency, can we not? So I understand what you're saying, but when we look at endosymbiosis, when we look at natural selection versus selective breeding, when we look at genetic engineering and introgression and the different types of introgression and all the introgress species on the planet, starting with microorganisms, working our way up to so-called humans, explain to me how a pig, a cat, a dog, yeast, celery, potatoes, zebrafish, horses, mice, chimpanzees, baboonus monkeys all got within the same genome. How do we go from haploids to diploids?
They don't have the same genome.
How did they get within the human genome?
They're not within
because
the human
scientists are saying that humans share DNA with chimpanzees, baboonus monkeys, pigs, dogs, cats.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Similarity.
No. You have the same exact, you have identical amino acids, which are the direct creations of your DNA. And amino acids become proteins, which then become the cell, right? And your cell becomes the tissue, then the tissue becomes the organ.
That's how you make structures.
No. What do you mean that's how you make structures?
What structures?
That's the level of organization of
Somatics,
life,
exactly.
of all life. They start out as a cell and it grows, right? Can we agree on that?
Organs make the organism,
Okay,
correct?
then. So you have the same amino acid, which is called cytochrome C, as a chimpanzee, which means you have the same building blocks as a chimpanzee, the same life building blocks as a chimpanzee to create your organism, which means you're gonna have the same phenotype. You're gonna have the same hair that falls down like a dog. You have a
It's not the same.
you have a pig membrane skin. You see what I'm saying?
It's largely the same.
Can you
It's not
explain to us
exactly.
how prokaryotes
There's
evolved
lots of
into
DNA.
eukaryotes?
Yeah. How did a haploid
I
change
mean,
into a
that's like
diploid?
that's early biology, but we've observed single-celled organisms turning into multicellular organisms.
How?
Explain the
Selection,
biological process.
predation, algae do it. Like you can look up these studies.
You're talking at the same time as us. What did you say?
Like it happens through selection pressures, as does almost all evolution.
The selection
And we've
process.
observed it with algae, with other single-celled organisms. I mean, I can look at the studies for you.
So what selected a pig, dog, fruit fly, chimpanzee to come together to make a human?
They
That's
didn't
what we're
come together to
asking.
make a human.
Then how do you have all of those genomics inside of your genome? How do you have all of those
Because DNA, that we have lots and lots of DNA.
you have
and
over
it's
25,000 genes
it's
from
like
different organisms. So
98% similar
go
to a
ahead.
bonobo, a bit less similar to others. And
How
the
did
rest of it
those
is what
different
makes the
animals
differences.
get within your genome if these animals don't naturally procreate in nature?
That's
And
what
these
we're asking.
animals also are not emerging and expanding through biogenesis. They're a byproduct of spontaneous generation.
Yep, Earth didn't generate
They're a
these
byproduct
creatures.
of introgression. Neanderthals have introgress genes. So how did that genetic material get
Yeah.
within the Neanderthal if his genetics come from multiple
Because
origins?
we all evolved from the same thing.
How did that
How?
evolution happen? How did prokaryotes change into eukaryotes? Can you explain the
Done
biological
studies,
process?
selection pressures.
You're telling me
Algae.
studies.
Studies. Can you name the studies
name
and
the
can you tell
studies.
me like
And explain the biological process, because you're telling me you read these studies. You seem like you're infatuated with these studies, like you dove your nose in
No,
these
I have a
studies.
biology.
So tell me the biological process that they use within these studies on how a prokaryote changes into a eukaryote when we don't even see that happening today, and when scientists around the world saying it never happened.
Which scientists are saying this?
With scientists are saying this, answer my question and I'll answer yours.
Say your question again. What's the
evolutionary
How did a
biologists,
prokaryote change into a
genetic
eukaryote?
engineers, synthetic biologists are all saying it.
Yeah, facts. Go ahead.
Evolution.
All right. Disingenuous. Go ahead. Who's just at the bottom? Eric's. Go ahead and then we'll get to creative.
Sorry, I was finishing my comment. Evolution, the biggest lie ever told. So, before we even get, what do you believe? What do you think?
We've already expressed
I just
that-
got up here. I don't know what y'all.
All right. So what made you request up? My premise is already on the screen. The biggest lie ever told.
Right.
So how
what
do you feel about the topic?
I don't think it's a lie. The proof of that is the way, energy is being produced inside the bodies, the, karyotes, muscle proteins, ribosomes. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? I do believe that it was an anomaly that happened for us to maybe other elements that we use, like, oh, okay, this works for this, and we progressed in that manner. We kind of went over the globe or whatever, like traveling, et cetera, just evolution going on. But we evolved differently because we were interested in different things. It wasn't just us trying to grow a tail or anything like that. We wanted to get somewhere. We learned how to ride animals. Then we learned how to build vehicles. And then we learned how to build planes and all that other stuff.
Okay,
You went
before the organism is formed.
That's just the evolution of man, It went somewhere else.
Hold on for a
Okay, you
second.
said the evolution of man. Did that man start as a man, or did their cells? Did he start as a cell?
Bacteria, fish, and then it got on land.
No. I'm asking you. You said this is the origin of man. You started telling me all the things that this man did, walked, fly the plane, all of this. I'm asking you, before that organism was formed, how did because this organism that you're talking about is Neanderthals, is modern humans today. Everybody outside of so-called black people share genomics with animals, over 25,000 genes from
You don't
animals.
think black people share DNA with animals?
We don't have animal DNA.
We don't naturally produce animal proteins.
I got you.
Yeah, we don't have the proteins, the enzymes, and the amino acids of any animals in nature or that's created in a lab for us to produce a phenotype of animalistic characteristics.
Okay. And this is because that one dude, not what's that guy's name? I forgot his name, but he used to be on the lives and whatnot. He's talked about that, so I don't think he goes live anymore. Had some stuff going on. I know he was the first one to talk about that stuff.
No, the question,
How did we go from
yeah,
haploids to
that's what we
diploids?
want to know. How do
No,
we go
I'm trying
from
to see
haploids
where
to
you're
diploids?
getting this information from.
The base
That's
premise
why.
that evolution is claiming is that we went from haploids to diploids, prokaryotes to eukaryotes. So how did that happen? That's what we were asking Herman.
Yeah, and biologically, the prokaryote becomes the black woman. So she doesn't have, like we just told you, she doesn't have the proteins, enzymes, and amino acids of animals. So who gave birth to y'all, or where do you come from to have pig DNA, dog DNA, cow DNA, chicken DNA, and chimpanzee DNA when you don't see none of these animals in nature reproduce with each other?
What?
All right, so we're just gonna cut everybody's mic. Yeah, he's saying gotta go. Multicellular study left in the comments. You're saying multicellular study. I'm asking you how the multicell got here. Do you understand that that's what I'm
And
asking?
selection pressures.
Which one?
Selection pressures. Explain it.
Well, predation is a selection pressure.
I can barely understand him. I'm gonna come clean.
Predation is a selection pressure.
Predation.
Yeah.
Explain.
We're asking you to
No,
elaborate.
Explain this biological process.
Okay, predation is where you are predated upon by another organism.
Predated upon it. So you're trying to explain endosymbiosis. You're trying to tell us that a prokaryote engulfed another prokaryote to create a eukaryotic cell when that doesn't happen today. Prokaryotes already have.
That was the transition to diploid.
You said what?
That wasn't what caused the transition to diploid.
So please tell us. That's what we're asking you.
What? Tell us, because that's what
Well, the
came out.
transition to diploid was the evolution of sexual reproduction, right? I mean, it likely happened.
Okay.
Because of like a fusion of two haploid cells creating a temporary.
Why would there be a
state.
fusion of two haploid cells when
Just happens.
that's already
Things happen all the
insinuating?
time.
No. Prokaryotes are already unicellular functioning.
Yep.
Why would they engulf another prokaryote?
When their DNA is compact and efficient.
And they do that to like eat them, and maybe they just didn't have the right things to eat them, and then
Maybe
Maybe
they didn't have the right things to eat.
Maybe
advantage.
Okay.
Yeah, no one knows
Okay,
how
hold
it
on, hold on, Herman. Before Darwin formed the origins of evolutionary thought, he completed it in 1859. He began in 1832. 75 years before he did it, James Hutton, already proved, as well as other scientists, geologists, different scientists of different backgrounds, can prove that Earth is still regenerating herself the same. We still see the same geological and the same magnetic forces that we've been seeing for this billions and millions of years. So why in the hell will we all of a sudden see this new variant and not be able to calculate gene frequency and pinpoint how this emergence of new species happen if evolution is a slow and a gradual process over time? If we can calculate gene variant through speciation, how can we not pinpoint evolution and the emergence and the engulfment that you're trying to talk about.
Mm.
But like engulfment happens in cells all the time. Like your phagocytes engulf things all the time.
Like what? Are we the
When they're
same
fighting
species?
diseases.
Do we have the same biology? Do we have the same
Okay.
embryology? This is what I'm saying. All the different species that you're talking about don't have the same embryological origin.
Exactly. That's what I
That's
was.
what I'm. You was just gonna say that to him. Like you're talking about
Prokaryotes-
organisms as
prokaryotes
they're
exhibit-
already. Hold on for a second. You're talking about organisms that are already complete. I'm asking you, how did the cells, how did the genetics, how did the biochemical substances come about to even
Okay.
for this to even happen? Because the only explanation known to man is introgression. I'm gonna help you out.
Prokaryotes
I'm gonna help you
exhibit-
out. The only explanation for
Pro-
that is introgression, which is done through some medium or some form of hybridization. How did a dog and a cat come about? Earth does not
Evolution.
naturally create cats and dogs. So how the hell did this come about? There's a whole heap of microorganisms, plants, animals, and insects, and so-called humans that are emergent and a byproduct of spontaneous generation, based off of all the processes that Earth naturally does. They
This is
don't. They would
nonsense
not
now.
have ever come from that process. So I'm asking you.
Prokaryotes- I'm
Go ahead.
explaining. Prokaryotes
ahead.
exhibit phagocytosis all the time. Right, that's when you engulf another cell.
Another cell.
Single-celled organisms engulf other single-celled organisms a lot. And then all it would take is one failed digestion and that organism would stay.
Okay. So you're saying prokaryotes and they do it all the time. So she just
Yeah.
told you how Earth goes in a constant cycle all the time, in a slow, gradual cycle. So
Yeah, and it's
if
just nonsense.
hold on for a second. If you look at any studies, they say prokaryotes were the only life forms for millions of years. So if you're saying prokaryotes have been doing that for a long time, why haven't these prokaryotes that have been by themselves for millions of years been engulfing each other and eukaryotes around? Why do eukaryotes come about
Because of the
millions?
several
Hold on for a
mutations that
second.
are required.
Hold on for a second. How come that they only came about millions of years after prokaryotes was doing their thing? Because that which is natural. Hold on for a
could have
second.
happened at
I'm not
any
going to speak
time.
over you because we're not children. That
I'm
which is
explaining the
natural.
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Like this thing could have happened at any time, but you'd need several mutations to
Thank you.
coexist at the same
Mutations
time.
is the key word here.
Yeah. And what sparks
Yeah.
that genetic mutation?
Tell us, please.
Random chance.
Random who?
Mutations happen all the time by random chance.
Chance?
Yeah.
Random chance.
Are mutations okay?
Do you know what mutations
Elephants,
are?
exactly. Elephants, prokaryotes, all in nature have been replicating their cells the same for millions and billions of years. They are prokaryotes. So that means that
Yeah,
they're only
millions.
passing down the same unicellular
We have a
function
bunch
to
of
their
mutations every
offspring.
time
So
we...
where would the extra genetic material have come from to cause a mutation to occur? Where would any extra genetic material have come from in a prokaryote to trip off to cause extra genetic material to now be within its genome?
You don't need extra material for a mutation.
But you just said that.
You just said it.
just
You just said by random
No, I
chance. You just said it.
You said that
Yes,
it would
mutations
engulf
happen all the
from
time
other
when your cells divide.
prokaryotes. You said that they engulf from other prokaryotes.
When cells divide, mutations happen all the time. All it would take is a
Which
few
cells?
mutations.
Which
Every
cells?
cell mutates. Every cell mutates.
Okay. Mutation is caused either by the sun. This mutation is caused by the sun. So what's happening to you right now, eukaryotes, mutation is happening because the nucleus, it only happens to organisms with a mucus because our genetics don't mutate. You see what I'm saying? Our genetics is the sun. You see what I'm saying? It evolves. It changes octaves in frequency. We have a morphic genetic field. That's our
It's
real
just errors in
genetics.
DNA replication.
Hold on for a second. Oh my goodness, man. I'm not gonna keep speaking over you. We're not
Well, I've gotta go,
you obviously
so
don't want to speak. You don't
I'm
want the
happy
truth to
come
get
back.
out.
Well, let me
Hold
get my
on
last
first.
thing
Look
because
what
I've
you're
got to go.
doing. Yeah,
I've
just
gotta
go
go,
because
so let me just say-
you obviously don't want to speak. Look what you're doing.
Excuse me, I have to
This
go.
shows
So
me
let
that
me
we're
just
two
say,
different species. Look at you.
let
Look
me
at the
just say
parts of the
goodbye.
brain that you're using, and look at the parts of the brain that I'm using.
Can you let me say goodbye,
You're
please?
not using your prefrontal cortex because you don't have none. And the chimpanzees that you share DNA with, they don't have none either. This is why they
You
steal
share
the
the same
energy and
DNA.
this. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just going to say goodbye, but like, obviously, mutations are just formed by errors in DNA replication. That's just how they all form. Like, that's what a mutation is.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. So I'm going to go. I'm be happy to come back when I have more time. But you know, evolution is obviously not a lie. But you know,
Then why is it a theory then? I mean, if it's a theory, you gotta
scientific
prove
theories are
the
different.
theory correct.
You have to go now. You can
Scientific
speak to
theories.
other
Because this
people.
guy's just
You
chatting
see,
some
you're
shit about
not. No, no,
theories.
no. Hold on for a second. You have no composure, and you just got to get off because you said a mutation. A pig. We can even deal with just eukaryotes. A pig itself would never give birth to a human. Something unnatural has to take place with that pig, with like genetic splicing, for it to give a birth to a human. This is how you humans today have the DNA and the amino acids and the proteins of cows, dogs, chicken, fruit flies. You will never see a fruit fly in nature procreate with a pig. You're saying this is random selection. So they randomly selected each other? A fruit fly randomly selected to procreate with a pig at some point? They looked at each other as attractive. This is what you're telling us. This is what you're telling us. So again, that which is natural in nature will never change unless something unnatural takes place to it. So the prokaryotic cell becomes the black woman because the prokaryotic cell is formulated from the biochemical substance, which is called neuromelanin, which is stardust. That's what it is. So when the sun magnetically propels this stardust to another star, this star receives this information, this transmission of energy, and then formulates a whole solar system with this genetics. And the first organism to form is the so-called black woman. I can prove where I come from and where my people come from. We have stardust DNA, solar magnetic DNA, which is carbon, hydrogen, helium, oxygen, and nitrogen. So how does something with the genetics of the sun, how does an organism with the genetics of the sun give birth to pig, dog, human, pig, dog, cat at the same time when she doesn't have no proteins, enzymes, or amino acids to give it off? So this is what we mean evolution theory is a lie. What y'all trying to tell us is that we are the monkey and y'all are the white people at the end. But every black person, so-called black person right now can go in the mirror and can clearly see we don't share no physical characteristics of a monkey. Our hair grows up towards the sun. When we're outside in the sun, we absorb the entire electromagnetic spectrum, which is called black body radiation. We make our own sugars through water splitting of the hydrogen and oxygen. We use the hydrogen and oxygen from our water within, and then we pull in the carbon dioxide from the air. Not just trees do it. We pull in the carbon dioxide from the air and create our own glucose. That's how we change light energy into chemical energy. That's literally how we eat. That's autotroph. That's prokaryotic cell. Everybody outside of so-called black people, they're repellent to the sun. They attract viruses and diseases. This is why they were able to wipe out 4 to 5 continents of just black people alone around the globe with their venereal diseases. All the animals that they share DNA with have venereal diseases within them. Zebrafish, cows, pigs. This is where they all come from. So if y'all gonna say that y'all come from us, explain to us how a prokaryote changes to a eukaryote. There is no such thing as engulfing. Like she said, if the whale has whale genetics and is going to pass down whale genetics for eons, where is it gonna get extra genetics to produce a different child? That's what we're saying.
I'm surprised he didn't say anything about like climate. Like I'm
Crazy.
like, damn, he didn't even say climate. That's blowing me because I definitely wanted to talk about the change from Carboniferous era to the Cretaceous. You know what I'm saying? To the Paleolithic to Neolithic, like the fall from prehistoric into what they call history. There were a lot of things that were much greater in size. You see what I'm saying? Nobody wants to talk about how Earth's rotation was knocked off 40.4 degrees. So when we look at things like natural hybridization or natural selective breeding or natural selection and things like that, we have to first understand what these things are claiming to be without the word natural in front of it. Because clearly there have been unnatural things that have taken place to Earth's atmosphere and to Earth itself for these things to even have happened. So, yeah, we talk about a slow, gradual change and process that's happening over time and things like that. Like Earth was slowed down. That's the thing. Now, we really should be able to calculate these new species. It's a simple division. You see what I'm saying? Allele frequency is simple. A fifth grader can calculate that shit on their own. So, again, we're not the same species. We don't have the same integumentary system. We don't have the same embryology. So when more of our people begin to understand that, then
we will simply detach from their system and them.
and we'll stop talking about racism and stop subscribing to titles, because it's one thing to say that race is not biological, but then to never talk about biology. If race is a
Ooh,
social
that's deep.
construct,
That's deep.
yeah, if race is a social construct, what is it socially constructed to be the barrier between the truth? So if we know that, if we can say that, okay, Darwin was a so-called racist man, then that means that the way that we view each other is rooted in race. That means that we do not view each other the way that we should. If race is not biological, that means that we need to be viewing each other based off of biology,
Which means
which
life.
means life. Bio means life. So how do you operate under the sun? How do you operate in nature? That's what I'm saying. When these people come in contact with the sun is actually trying to heal all life. Everything is meant to be healed by the sun. Their integumentary system, their hair, their skin, their nails cannot synthesize the sun's rays. So that's got to be the base premise. The sun doesn't know them. That's why they shouldn't be teaching our children. If we're the sun in the flesh, if we're a neuromelanated species, and neuromelanin is what is functioning all of our cells, then why are we allowing these people to police us? Why are we trying to get reparations? Why are we trying to identify themselves in a system that's literally meant to keep you from actually knowing the truth about who you are? Because we can prove these people, of course, haven't been on the planet that long. 6,000 to 7,000 years is about how long they've been here genetically. But
Yep.
historically, they'll tell you that they've been here 250,000 years. Okay, so somebody's lying. That's why we can't go based off of history. We can't go based off of race. We can't go based off of anything that these people created. We have to focus more on what's happening in the natural world. If these people are not synthesizing the sun the same as us, they couldn't have come from us. Where would your suit have come from if you don't have the genetic material to be able to withstand the sun? That doesn't make sense. Were you trying to say something, too?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a great observation because a lot of these theories are theories made by their people, and if you really look at the world and you really see how these people act on a daily basis and how they have done throughout the years and like historically, you get a good idea of who they really are and how they are not in any type of way connected to us and who we are. We are. We don't do those type of things. We've never done those type of things. We've never committed those atrocities against people like how they have committed against people. So that's a good point. Looking at the natural world and seeing it, studying it with your own eyes and seeing it. You know what I'm saying? That's a
Facts. Go ahead. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because what we're seeing is that based off of physical expression or behavior, behavior is a part of phenotype. Pheno means to show or showing. So everything that we see about these people, we don't even express our genetics the same. We don't express our behavior the same because we don't have the same genetics. Go ahead, Elio, and then we'll get to Olivia and Ben.
Why do you not believe evolution is real?
Because we did not go from haploids to diploids. The base premise of evolution has not ever been proven to be correct. But when we look at all of the species that emerged as a byproduct of evolution, it only points us back to introgression and genetic engineering.
Okay, so evolution is a really long process. I know it may seem like there's a designer, but if you understand how it works, it will make sense. I promise you. So, which part of evolution doesn't really convince you exactly?
Go ahead and tell me how we went from haploids to diploids, and then we can have that discussion.
Yeah.
Like, tell us
So,
how we
wait,
how
I'm-
hold on. I'm gonna ask you the question first. How did a prokaryote engulf a eukaryote?
So actually, English is not my first language, so I don't know about those terms.
How did evolution happen?
So basically, when a single individual from a species makes a child, that child has a
Whoa. I'm talking about evolution. I'm not talking
Yes.
about procreation.
I'm
No,
here,
no,
by
no,
the way,
wait,
Sky. I'm here.
let me explain.
Okay.
So when an individual of a species makes a child, that child can have a random genetic mutation. So when a creature is found in an inappropriate place for it to live, if his children have a mutation that gives them a disadvantage, they're going to die. If they have a mutation,
F1 in the chat. All right. That's a trigger word, and that's gonna flag the live and possibly get it taken down. So
What
we can't
happened?
say DIE. We have to say unalive. So I need F1s. I'm just trying to simplify your question for people that are coming in and for the listeners. How did evolution happen? Can you give me a sentence or two explaining the engulfment, please? Go ahead.
Okay, so evolution happens. So do you remember everything that I just explained?
Yeah.
So when a child has a certain mutation that is good for the environment he lives in, like let's say some land animal goes to the water, its species is now becoming semi-aquatic. So if a child of that
No.
species has like a longer tail and can swim faster, is going to live more and is going to reproduce
Okay.
and give the same mutation to his children.
I'm asking you, how did the mutation come about? How did we go from haploids to diploids? How did a but you're telling me about full-grown organisms.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, how did the cell come about?
Not the anatomy.
Yeah, not
just
the mutation, and then
we're
how
talking
the
about the biology. The evolution is talking about biology.
Okay. So this mutation come up because of the DNA of the species. The DNA has something called a genome. The genome is used to make the child not a clone of the mother,
Child,
but actually
mother.
different.
Species, child, clone, mother. I'm confused.
If you listened and did not just nitpick some words, you will understand.
No.
So
First of all, let's not get carried away here. I've asked you the same simple question 3 or 4 times. So don't get disrespectful, because I'm asking you a question that you should be able to explain, since you came up here saying it and you have not. I'm asking you how the cell, the eukaryotic cell came about, and you're talking about baby, mother, species,
Clone.
clone. You're talking about nitpicking words. But the thing is, nitpicking when we're talking about climate is not nitpicking to a chronobiologist or a climatologist. They understand these words because it's their everyday life. It's what they're studying. They're studying the natural world. So clone doesn't go in the same discussion that we're having. That's more towards genetic engineering. I'm asking you how the cell came about. So let's not get beside ourselves and get carried away.
Yeah. How did the Earth naturally generate the eukaryotic cell? How did the Earth naturally generate? Because she only generates prokaryotes. That's all her creatures are made up of. Is prokaryotes. She is
We still
herself
don't
is
know
made up
how
of
life came to
prokaryotes.
be.
What happened?
We still don't know how
Who's
life
we?
came to be.
Who's we? Because we know how life became to be.
There's only two origins for all life on the planet, including microorganisms all the way up to so-called humans, because there's
No,
only two.
nobody knows where life comes from.
Okay, give me a second, because now you're debunking and you're contradicting your own self. And let me explain how. There are only two cellular form types known to man for all life, either prokaryotic or eukaryotic, biogenetic or spontaneous generation. So when you're asking nobody knows how life came about, we know the origin of prokaryotes. It's biogenesis. We know the origin of eukaryotes. It's spontaneous generation, genetic engineering, introgression. You came up here telling us that you knew. Now you're saying nobody knows. Now I'm
No,
finna probably take you off my panel.
Exactly. Like we don't play that. Just answer the question, please.
I'm trying to, okay? You're making it harder, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we know that life came to be by abiogenesis, but we still are not 100% sure. We're still studying this process of how life came to be. So no one knows 100% how life came to be.
All
Which
right,
life? Eukaryotic life is new. That's what
exactly.
we're saying. It came millions and billions of years
Later.
after prokaryotes. That is easily documented because genetic splicing has been taking place on this planet for over 400,000 years. That is known. So if you can't tell us where the eukaryote came from, which we just told you that either you came from biogenesis or you came from genetic engineering, if you can't tell us, then you don't want to admit that everybody outside of so-called black people came from genetic splicing and engineering and came from ectowombs, which are artificial wombs
They
made in
have
labs.
exactly. They have ectowombs for plants, so it's not even just animals. But you're off the app, so we can't hear you. Go ahead, Siloe. Go ahead.
Yep.
And then we'll get to Jerome, and then we'll go back to Elio, or we'll get to the two, and then Elio. Go ahead, Cilio.
Can you please ask me in simple terms, because my English is not very good. I'm sorry. I know I asked to be in this live, but my English is not very great. Explain to me in simple terms what.
You're going off the app, so we can't hear you. I am explaining it to you in the simplest words possible. And I'm not trying to be facetious. Over here in America, that this is considered like 7th and 8th grade science. So you like a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old can actually tell you what a prokaryote and a eukaryote is. So single cell turning into a multi-cell. How did a single cell organism turn into a unicellular, or excuse me, a multicellular organism? That's about as simple as I can go.
Okay, I can answer that. So we have observed that sometimes single cellular organisms, when they divide, they can have a mutation where it makes them stick together. And in some certain conditions, this sticking together can actually help them survive.
How
All
did
right, you're not really answering the question.
yeah.
No,
You're saying sticking together. I'm asking you, how did the Y'all, hold on for a second, because you've had a few shots at this, Elio. Let me get to Jerome.
Yeah, we gotta move on
Um,
now.
hey, I'm sorry, but I just had to come up and just glad that you just crucified them like that because they tried to make it seem like y'all didn't know what y'all were talking about. Listen, I'm a layman. I'm just a dude that's in the audience. I just came up and I like what you guys are doing. I like that you guys are really intelligent. You said this is fifth grade science, but dude, I'm telling you that I need to go back to school. You guys are good, and I love that. I love that. I'm just listening because I'm actually just learning what you guys are saying. I need to be actually recording it so I can just pick up and go and just do some kind of little research what you guys are talking about. I really appreciate what you're saying, and I'm glad that you let people know that they can't come in here and try to like squash y'all like you don't know what you're talking about. They didn't answer the question. I would have just said, "Hey, you know what? I don't really know. I just believe that it came into existence some kind of way, and you guys are on what the existence is." So I don't understand why they couldn't even understand it's talking about. They was already into what was already created.
Facts.
So, but
It's easier. It's best to say you don't know than to lie. And we've done these lives for 2+ years, and we've seen it happen in real time. But for anybody that wants like full length discussions, we post them on YouTube.
mhm.
Sometimes the lives get taken, so all of them don't get posted. Like they took the live last time. I really wanted that one when we were breaking down the Hutton theory, evolution versus speciation, and stuff like that. But sometimes they take them. So I don't know if Branches is in here. Shout out to Branches, because Branches screen records them and he puts them on his YouTube. He got lives that we don't even have. Hell. So
As a
shout
matter
out
of
to
fact, I'm gonna share
Branches.
this.
And I
I'm
wanted
gonna
to
post
also
this.
give you some light, my brother, that
Hmm.
Earth is the school that you need to be learning from. The trees, all the trees, the rock cycle, the how the water forms, how the
You guys are
tectonic plates, everything.
deep.
You know what I'm saying? Earth
Right,
is
right.
school. The universe is school. Your mind is school. You are here to master it. And the way to master it is by learning yourself. And learning yourself is learning yourself from all organizations of life, which is atoms all the way
Hmm.
to who you are today, to all the way up to celestial bodies that you're connected to cymatically. That's what this system is made for, is to disconnect you from the universe.
Facts.
So then,
Absolutely.
can I ask you just a couple of questions so I can get a direction here? Because I'm
Yeah,
walking with you.
sure.
Let
And
me
we'll
ask you
get
that.
to
Did
the
you
next
guys?
guest. So take your time.
Uh,
Everybody just
okay,
be patient a little bit.
Yeah, abundance.
Abundance. Okay, you went off the app, so we can't hear you.
sorry. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. I was just trying to get rid of the GPS because it was talking
Mm-hmm.
right when I'm trying to ask you a question. Okay, what I'm going to ask you: do you guys believe that that we are like in a universe, or like that? The Earth is rotating and it's rotating around the sun, and the sun is rotating around the Milky Way, and the Milky Way is rotating around the galaxy. Do you guys believe in that like that, or is it?
My brother, just like I just said, it's not, don't be in a rush to try to know everything. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand and know yourself, and that's a process that's going to take a while. So it's a journey. It's a continuous journey. But like we said, she has the books on her page. We have lives. We have all of that. I'm going to answer this question. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just letting you know, for future references, we should be studying and enlightening our own selves so we can be
Okay.
all great. We can be all great.
Okay.
So, okay, so I was just gonna say that yes, we do live in a universe, and we live in a universal organism, and this universal organism uh, invisible matter or dark matter or electrons that make up an entire black woman, and we're actually traveling this specific solar system. We're actually traveling around the 12 zodiacs, just like how your pineal gland sits in the middle of your 12 cranial nerves. You see
Hmm.
what I'm
Your
saying?
third eye.
So,
Yes.
yeah, your third eye, just like your third eye sits in between, in the middle of all your cranial nerves, and this is how you control your motor functions, your non-physical functions and senses. So, Earth Earth is being pulled with the other planets around the whole zodiac. And right now we're getting pulled into the age of information, or the age of Aquarius. This is
Hmm.
why you see the sun has changed from yellow to white now. is sending more dimensional light, cymatic waves to the planet, and all organisms on the planet are now changing biologically. You see what I'm saying? Based off this new information that we're getting off of the sun.
Okay.
So
You believe in if I'm gonna ask you the planet Nibiru and all this like that, or that's just
I don't call anything like, I don't really like to classify celestial organisms or our people
okay,
with titles. You see what I'm saying?
okay,
I know
okay,
that there's planets with different functionality. That's what differentiate them. But I don't really believe in things with titles and stuff like that.
okay.
But
I got you.
Nibiru so-called does exist. You see what I'm saying? It's just a different star that's gonna be now helping the sun send more frequency to the planet, because now they're telling you that the ozone layer or the Earth's magnetic field is splitting because there's more interstellar gases that's now affecting all biological life on the planet.
All right, I want to get
That's
to the next.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
stay
no
up here,
problem.
Jerome. But
Mhm.
let's see. I think it was Convert or was it CGB? Does anybody know who was up here first? Was it Convert or CGB that was first?
I think it was CGB.
Go ahead, CGB, and then we'll get to Convert.
Yeah. That's most deaf, because like I say all the time, like, it's the key word in evolution theory is theory. You know what I'm saying? These people still don't know. And if it applies to somebody, it applies to non-blacks. Because like I say, you can't share DNA with something that you predate. You know what I'm saying? And hypothetically speaking, all right, let's say we share DNA with said chimps, you know? Why doesn't their skin look like ours? Why don't they show the same phenotypic similarities? You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, Charles Darwin was a full-blown racist. He didn't even know anything about genetics. So molecular biology already confirmed that. What, July 2011, city of Montreal, that's already been confirmed for like 10 plus years now. So I agree.
Yeah, the theories that are discussed in science and then theories that are used in like linguistics and language are two different theories. But I do understand where you're coming from. I just want our people listening to understand that those two meanings those are not the same things. Go ahead, Convert, and we'll get to Dink. Convert, you're saying we share DNA with bananas. Who's we? Are we all the same species?
That's the question.
Who's we?
Yes, who is
Who's
we?
We is you and me.
So you believe that all so-called humans are the same genetically?
Pretty much.
All right, go ahead and explain that to us, how we all share the same genomics, genetically and biologically. Go ahead and explain to us.
We can procreate.
We can procreate? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we can't procreate with other species.
Okay, you're saying we can procreate, but it is a fact that when so-called white men, Asian men, Arab men, when they came into contact with black women and children across all continents, they wiped out 4 to 5 continents alone with their venereal diseases. Over 509 of our women were falling unalive when they came exposed to your toxic seminal fluid. So you're saying we're procreating today, but when we first came into contact with each other, these things was happening. So how is it that two species that are natural to each other, that one of the species, 509 of them, start to fall unalive?
Million.
509 millions of us.
Wait,
how does that happen?
Do you think I'm white?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You're defending them.
I'm not defending anyway.
All right. So again, what he mentioned with procreation is that if we're the same species, why whenever we came in contact with y'all were wiping us out with venereal diseases? Because
who is y'all?
Elephants, the elephants, all prokaryotes in nature, when they procreate, zoonotic diseases, hemolytic diseases, and ischemia is not invoked on a cellular level. But when we procreate outside of our so-called race or species, these things are invoked on a biological and on a cellular level.
Yeah.
So just because we can procreate with these people today does not mean that it's natural.
What's not natural?
Just because we can procreate with these people today does not mean that it's natural. Because they have issues with procreating amongst themselves. They haven't even always been able to procreate amongst themselves. They were the species with hypertrichosis, vestigial tails on all fours, unable to speak and reproduce was a part of their genetic limitations.
And so-called black people, we're not supposed to be unaliving at all. So the fact that we're unaliving, especially at 70, 60, is because our blood is consistently being tainted with antigens. When we procreate with these people, when we get vaccines, when we're eating the meats, that's all giving us carcinogens. You see what I'm saying? That's all deteriorating the body. It gives us red blood cell hemolysis.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but I think the narrative that you guys are dressing this as is, I don't know, a little bit limited. I mean, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm Native American. So
Well then,
I'm saying that, and I don't like to bring it up, but in the context of this conversation, I feel like I have to, because I, just like you're talking about in the context of historically, the white man or whatever, well, guess what? That's exactly what happened to us, right?
You're
But
not the same as us. So
well,
everybody outside of so-called black people don't stem
right.
from the same embryological origin. It's not about white man versus black man. You're mentally programmed and conditioned to think like that in so-called America. Okay, so again, like he explained, the Asian man is actually first within y'all's genus. When we first came in contact with that man, we were genetically incompatible. We were dropping like flies. All right, we're not the same. So again, anytime we procreate outside of our species, these things are invoked on a cellular and on a biological level. This is the reason why our people, when they start procreating, they lose rhythm. They begin to lose a touch from themselves. They begin to start saying things or acting certain ways that they haven't always acted because y'all are thinning out blood, literally taking nutrition. So this is the reason why the ROGAM shot was created in the 60s. And prior to that, we were dropping, the numbers were, morbid. So
Yeah, and you're the Native American that you're talking about are the people that came from Denisovans. You see what I'm saying?
exactly.
The from Asia, which are genetically introgressed people with unnatural origins, with eukaryotic origins. They have animal DNA. So you come from people with animal DNA because the original people that were on this planet by themselves were so-called black people. It doesn't matter if it was America, Africa, Asia, Europe. We were all over the globe, had a global civilization. We didn't subscribe to titles because we all knew our genetics and we knew the genetics of the planet and we knew the genetics of every organism on the planet. So there was
So
no
we
need to call ourselves, Zulu. There was no need to call ourselves Native American. There was no need to call ourselves Solani. There was no need to call ourselves Yoruba. There's no need to call ourselves that when my genetics match the sun. So if you're saying that you're organic to this landmass, what is your biological identification to the landmass?
they
Because the
can't answer
landmass, hold on for a second. The landmass is made up of hydrocarbon. So-called black people, we are made up of hydrocarbon. That's how our physical matter is constructed today through 432 hertz. So my question to you is, what is your biological identification to the planet? Simple as that.
I don't think I'm on sufficient enough shrooms or DMT to carry this conversation. I will be.
F1 in the chat. F1, please.
So you don't have the prefrontal cortex to
Like you try
plan your
to,
thoughts and decisions and to align your mind with your decisions to say something to me. You see what I'm saying? You don't have that. I see what you're saying. You have the cow, the pig, the dog, all trying to talk at the same time and they can't formulate a thought. You see what I'm saying? So I understand that. But don't try to say that you're natural to the planet when you have no explanation.
and these types of conversations are the ones that you should be able to have if you're using Cybin. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying not to flag the live. So we're not the same species and we're not expressing our genes the same. Go ahead, Dink, and then we'll get to everybody else because you haven't spoken yet. Go ahead.
I just want to give y'all flowers because a lot of people's not going to understand, saying the type of things you talking. That's why they coming in here trolling and you getting a bunch of ums. Let me say, knowledge is being born, and y'all great God and great goddess. Thank y'all so much for bringing this knowledge out, because don't that too many people know that we're the true gods of this universe and this plane, whatever you want to call it, and that they're hybrids and they came out of a petri dish. A lot of people don't understand that, don't see it, but you just taking me to another level with the knowledge that y'all bringing, and I appreciate y'all and thank you so much.
Gratitude and abundance. Since we have a new guest, we know who you are. Go ahead, Sonic.
I was just going to tell you you're vitamin D deficient. And I bet your page shows if I'm.
Go ahead. The two we haven't, or is it CBG? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna
If I
ask.
have a mod in here, somebody please block Sonic. Block that account because last time the live got shut down right after he came in here. So go ahead,
Oh,
CGB.
but I was just gonna ask. Hold on, let me get my thoughts together. How can I say this? All right, we are aware that us as Black people, we was unaliving before they even brought physical harm to us due to their zoonotic diseases, right? But what I'm kind of trying to wrap my mind around is how were you sick enough to unalive another individual, but you weren't sick enough to unalive off the disease that's embedded in your body? You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Does that question make sense to y'all?
They did.
They are the
They
disease.
are the disease. The same diseases that we see today are the same diseases that's been plaguing them since the Byzantine or the Justinian era, 541 AD. So this is the reason why you see Homo sapien, Homo sapien, Homo sapien sapien, Homo floresiensis, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo whatever, because they're not suitable for this terrain. So you're looking at the most modernized bipedal version of a conglomeration of all of those introgress genes, and they're still undergoing acute body radiation. They're still going chromosomal deletions, and it's millions of them. It's just that when you have people subscribing to a system and race, you can't really see the truth because they're the ones that are controlling the way that information is put out and controlling who's who. There's a lot of mixed people that are walking around thinking that they're BLK and they're actually YT. We don't understand this is a patriarchal system that we're in, so they're telling you whatever the father is whatever you are, which is not the way that genetics and DNA passes itself on. That's not the way that we inherit DNA. Everything goes based off of the mitochondria. X chromosome rules throughout the entire biology. So whatever the mother is what the child is, no matter how the child phenotypically presents.
Can I ask
And
a
my
question? I'm willing to
Yeah,
finish. I'm
evolution
sorry.
isn't
See,
alive.
I wanted to
um,
ask. Okay.
oh, go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask. Okay, so that's where I got a problem. Not with you guys, but with myself. I'm mixed, right? Like, my father's African
Don't listen to
American,
her, bro. It's okay to be mixed.
1 second, Freddie, and then we'll get to you. We do one at
and
a time, no over talking. Go ahead, Jerome.
okay, I was just saying my
It's okay to
father
be
is
mixed, dude. Don't listen to her.
Go
yes,
ahead.
my father's African American and my mom's mixed, and when we go back in my family tree, it's all the way to Cherokee, and I even have some um, Irish in me. So I guess I'm kind of sick then, but
What
and
is
I
your
want to.
mother's mother?
Yeah, what is your mother's mother?
She's mixed also. So it's
And what
like
is,
it could
and
go
can you
back
go
to
back further than
Cherokee
that?
Indian. I
Can you
can
go
only
back?
go back maybe. Yeah, I just know that from what my mom said. She go back to someone over in Ireland. Then I have my dad's side, which is former slaves, I guess, and
If
it's
they're
just like
coming,
You just said that your mom's mom was mixed. So if she's mixed, what is her mom?
he
she
just
was like
said
a
that she
white.
came
She
from
was like a white,
Ireland.
like a yeah, like she looked when I seen pictures of her, she looked like this where she was old. With the picture was old, but an old white Indian with a white lady that's Looked like she could have been between Indian like, with long pigtails, like long hair, but old, but look white.
Then that's probably if they're so the reason why I was trying to lock in on what you said about Ireland and Irish is because there was a
Hmm.
certain point in history where a lot of them came over from, and that's what Ellis Island is about. So
Hmm.
that's a possibility that you know what I'm saying, like that would make you a eukaryotic hybrid.
Okay.
So essentially, according to speciation and understanding, you would not be the same species as us, but
Right.
you know what I'm
So
saying?
that
It's
makes me
just
that make me
understanding
a
the
bad
sperm that
person, like I'm
it
sick
does.
or
It's not
something.
about good or bad. It's not about good or bad. It's just about
Being
your
yourself,
genetics.
being your genetic self. If that's
Okay.
what you are, if that's what you are, then you gotta embrace that. That's what you are.
And my last
That's
question. Okay, I got
yeah.
that. Now my last question is this: are you guys are from? If I go back and try to lock down something, this might just be hypothetical. But are you guys are scientists? Because the way you speak is like I can walk with you with that. Like everything that you say, I can walk with you. But when when you talk about these other people and the names that you call them and stuff like that, they came from somewhere. So did we make them? Or well, I don't know if I can say I made them. I don't know what if you want to identify me with not being you, then I can't say we or me or us. Okay, I'm separate from you. But somebody had to make them. And when they do say something about a dish, like a you know
A
a
petri
you know
dish.
yeah, like a petri dish. That means that there's a scientist that has that, and they're working with stuff. Or they are we? If I'm them, or I'm from them, am I? Somebody created me though, right? As an experiment,
Uh,
right?
there are other entities and other terrestrial life forms that are intelligent. They're just not as intelligent as the so-called black woman. So yes, there is an entity that is depicted splicing on in the Sumerian text. So the hypertrichosis, what I was just saying, on all fours with the vestigial tails, unable to speak and reproduce, that entity has them on leashes. And so splicing has been taking place on this planet based off of everything that we see for the last 2 to 400,000 years. That entity works not off of physical combat,
Hmm.
but through scientific combat. There are books like Dark Fleet, Children of the Matrix, that explain the genetics and the phenotype and the behavior of other extraterrestrial life forms. Because when we start talking about that, people get a little bit, I don't want to believe in that shit. But the thing is that when you're studying science, you understand that like octopus are considered extraterrestrial species. Praying mantis are considered extraterrestrial species. And that's how these scientists talk about them, because their DNA is not just showing that they have matches on this planet, but also on other planets as well. That's how we know that that life is existing on other planets, because genetic matching and DNA. So
Yeah. And
I
you
just had to tell you that yes, we can see
Thank you.
stone, we can
That
see different petroglyphs and hieroglyphs that is
hmm
depicting genetic splicing taking place. That's even
okay.
older than the last dynasty of the Egyptians.
Eh,
Egyptians, people talk about ancient Egypt, but ancient Egypt, the last dynasty ended 45 to 5500 years ago. That's not that ancient. And these people, you know what I'm saying, were already on the planet before that fell. So
Okay, and that's what's right. What you said about the octopus, because they still scientists, they still don't even know what that thing is. And I watch them, and I just sit there and watch it for hours. Like, how does this thing know? It has what, not like 9 brains, one for each leg and one in the center of its body, and it actually knows how to like see something and changes its color to that. It's completely amazing. They still don't know what it is, but like I understand that. So, and I want to just end with this. I'm land here. So, because I've been down the rabbit hole so far, man, that I can't even see where the hell I even came in at back there. Okay. And I'm going into these different chambers down here, just hearing different information until I hear something like, oh, man, are you serious? Now go back out in the hallway, go further down. So now I'm in here. So, but um, and I'm confused. It's like you can, and you're right. You can't know everything, but it's like something about me. I just still want to hear everything, and I guess I make my assessments from that, and then I can find out that my assessments can be wrong. Okay, but do we? The thing with the atom and the hominids of this planet that that they was working with the hominids of this planet to build a race, to I guess do something. I can't want to get too in depth, but just in short, a race to build something, and then a
A race
mother
to mine
who's
gold is what it
right.
is. What it
Oh yeah,
is to
that's what I
mine the
want to say.
golden
Yeah.
race.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I'm saying especially to help another planet's atmosphere. And that's another question that's for probably another time, because I'm trying to figure out what happened. Like why
No, no,
there's no
no.
information about what happened to that. Is that still there?
All right.
But
I just
but
wanted to say it's not y'all wasn't created to help another planet. Y'all was created
right,
to
to help
distract.
here.
Y'all was no.
Okay.
Y'all was created to mine us. Gold
Right.
comes from us. Gold comes from stardust, our DNA. Gold, silver, platinum, every metal or crystal that you see out there comes from the so-called pineal glands of so-called black women and children. It comes from us. So no other planet needs help with their atmosphere when the native people of those planets are so-called black people and they're producing those gold over there. They don't need help. The problem is that y'all were only created to hide the fact that we have immortal genes and the fact that your creators can extract these immortal genes so him himself can have forever life. This is why they drink our blood. This is why they eat us. They extract us our stem cells out of our pineal glands, out of our red blood cells. This is why, because we
How,
have immortal genes.
so how come I don't think like okay, so if I'm part of them, I consider myself black, but I, if I want to just go back, I can say I'm mixed up in there, and okay, so and that's just being real. So, but how come I'm not thinking like eating anybody or drinking their blood and stuff?
Well, there's a white person down the street that's not doing the same thing either. Just,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? But it's in your genetics to do so. So if you were backed up into a
Ugh,
corner well enough, you would do it.
I
And
would.
you have the capability to produce a child with another eukaryotic that can come out and do that. So yes,
Ugh,
that's very dangerous to us. And
okay.
you're saying, "Oh, I consider myself black," but you're a whole new species. When our people procreate with them and create a organism,
Hmm.
that is the newest species to ever walk on the planet. So y'all are a whole new species.
So
You see
you
what
would
I'm saying? A
suggest for me
hybrid
not to
species.
date a black
So you're
woman if that's the case?
yeah,
Would you
you're
suggest for
going
me not to?
yeah,
You wouldn't
you
let
will
me
harm.
date your daughter. I'm not saying that you older than me. I'm just saying if you would forbid me dating your daughter, even though I come in with black skin, you still would forbid me to date your daughter.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be black skin because it's the X chromosome that rules. You are you're
Hmm.
actually wearing your mother's skin right now, and that's why I really have to get a video out explaining every point of your anatomy that is inherited specifically by your mother. Even when it comes to men, men still inherit their genetic material from the mitochondria. So whoever the mother is, the ovum, the totipotent stem cell, she carries that her entire life, where it's just the tail end of the sperm that comes along and sparks what is already there. So it's like plugging a charger into an outlet.
Hmm.
Essentially, it's just sparking life or sparking a pattern known as a zinc spark. So it's not it's really so called, how do I explain it? Like a black man sparked a white child. So when we look at the melanin, it's actually pheomelanin and eumelanin.
So you can be
Pheomelanin and
dark still and
eumelanin, I'm explaining it. I knew what you were about to ask me. That's why I'm going there. Pheomelanin and eumelanin are on the opposite ends of the spectrum of each other. They're both animal melanin. So when we look at sloths, bats, uh, koala bears, these are the dark pigmentation that y'all be trying to talk about. It's not neuromelanin, right? Because when we look at our integumentary system, we don't see the same biochemical consistency, right? So Dravidians, there may be some dark Dravidians, but Dravidians don't stem from the same embryological origin. So what type of dark are we looking at? Are we looking at dark neuromelanin? Or are we looking at dark eumelanin? Or is this on the opposite end of the spectrum turning into pheomelanin? That's what it is. It's not about crayon colors and painting. And if you take red with white, then you get pink. That's not how genetics work. That's only for like painting and colors and like things like that.
And if you was to put your integumentary skin, if you was to put your integumentary system, your skin,
Mhm.
next to an actual neuromelanated organism, that, like she just said, your texture would not even feel or look the same.
It would not absorb, it does not absorb the light spectrum like ours to be considered the same thing. It's a completely different uh
Yeah,
uh uh
mucus based is dried out. You see what I'm saying? It holds no moisture. Hydrocarbon is moisture, and y'all don't hold no moisture. Is mostly mucus.
and that type of melanin that we're talking about with our animals, like pheomelanin and eumelanin, are natural to this planet, but these people have vitrosynthetic eumelanin and pheomelanin. This can only interact with the light, it does not absorb. So it's not the same thing at all.
So we
All
would
right,
not allow none of y'all to be with any of our people. That is
yeah,
genetic street. That is genetic treason.
treason.
You see what I'm
And
saying?
it's not about niceties or good or bad, it's just understanding genetics. Good or bad is a byproduct of moralism and ethics, which were created by these people. Go ahead, Gilly.
Hi. Yeah. No, I'll just listen to you guys, and I'll find it.
I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me?
No.
You got something in the background. You got to turn that off.
I'm not paying any.
Go ahead, CGB, and then if you get to where it's quieter in your background, Gilly, then you can go, but we can't hear you.
I was gonna say I heard you guys say we're not supposed to be unaliving, and I believe that to an extent, but I was just kind of just thinking when y'all were just talking, you know, physical violence and natural causes is still a thing. You know, you can slip and fall and break your neck and things like that. So how hypothetically are we not supposed to unalive? Do y'all get what I'm asking? That was
No,
my
I'm
like
sorry, I don't.
how y'all said we're not
Have you
supposed to
ever?
Hold on,
unalive.
let
Like,
him ask it, and then
oh, I was basically saying two questions. How are we not supposed to be unaliving? And I was curious how I remember you were talking about the carnivorous era, and I was thinking of a hypothetical, like if I were to make like a controlled environment with, like vegetation, plants, vegetables, fruits, maybe 400 to 600 feet tall trees, just the purest oxygen I can possibly control. You know what I mean? Like, would that extend my lifespan, or would that work, or what's
I'm
wrong
not
with that?
understanding your. Okay? So are you saying that there are no neural? You're saying that we're insinuating that our people don't unalive?
No. I'm saying like how y'all said we're not supposed to unalive. Like, how is that? Is basically what I'm asking.
Okay, because your DNA is built off solar radiation. No, when they tell you that stars are unaliving, they don't actually unalive. They become a whole new type of star. That's what happens. So you don't unalive. You're gonna become something else because your genetics every 7 years, your tissues, your blood, your bones are all replaced by solar radiation every 7 years. So you're telling me, oh, should I be having the fruits, the vegetables? That lets me know that you don't know that your primary source of food is photons. You see what I'm saying? Breatharians. So that this is how we're able to live forever is by eating off of the sun, and we are the sun. We are
The
not the body. That's what
We
I
are
wanted
the
to say.
sun. We are the sun. We are not the body.
the fuck
But
up
For real,
with
for
your
real.
lame ass.
how do we
Exactly. You had
get
to
back?
repeat something I said and not make up any thoughts of your own. So
You sat
again,
and waited patient to say that dumbass shit.
so yeah, I
He
wanted to say
bothered,
that.
man. He bothered. That's all it is. He just bothered.
But how do we? Well, how do I genetically cleanse myself to where I can
You're not the
consume
body.
protein from the sun?
To
You are
cleanse your
the.
body, being in the sun, eating according to your genetic makeup, getting the antigens out of your body. But these people ultimately have to be gone. That's what he's trying to express. These
I'm
people have
so
to.
bothered. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad. Oh,
I'm not sure how he got back up here, but the thing is like the air is not. We're not breathing in the right air. There's nanotech. There's not as many interstellar gases that were on the planet in that Carboniferous era that I brought up. So that's the thing. These people are walking viruses. When these people cough around you, you're inhaling a virus. When you eat cabbage, kale, cruciferous vegetables, spinach, carrots, all these things that are a byproduct of having introgress genes and that are hybridized fruits and vegetables, you're feeding antigens. So you should be cleansing yourself with creating an environment for your body that is alkaline.
And I
No,
answered your question
yeah, I know
already.
you did, and that's why I went back to
Uh-huh.
what he was saying is like, he did answer your question, but it's all encompassing. These people are the virus, which is the first thing that he said, that these people are walking diseases. They have to be gone off of our planet, which is what the sun is doing. It's removing the nucleus out of their cell, which is what the chromosomal deletions that we've been talking about is explaining. So they're not ever going to come clean with you about the numbers when it comes to them being unalived, because then they would give you the blueprint to how many of us there actually are.
Yeah, and I wanted to say you've asked
How
us
long would
you've
that
asked
take
us
me?
this specific question before, and we told you that you are not the body.
Oh,
You've asked us this specific question. That's what I was trying to say. We told you that you are the soul, and the soul regenerates itself. Neuromelanin regenerates itself. That's what a prokaryotic cell is. It's a photoautotroph. It makes its own sugar. We make our own sugar.
all right.
But you already have to have that mental state of
Mhm.
science. You already have to know how you do that. You already have to know how your cells are making these sugars. If you don't know, then you have no connection to self.
All right, I'm trying to get to Mystic's knowledge because I know we've been long-winded and some people are leaving. So I promise I'm gonna get to you in just a second. But the thing is like you're asking how long does it take? It's okay. As long as these people are, we see the state that we're in right now, you're gonna forever be cleansing antigens. Because like I said, it's in the air. The water that you're drinking and bathing in is aquamated. Right? So all of this has to go. That's why we're seeing weather anomalies amp up all over the globe. How long it takes is dependent upon you and your ascension as well, because like he said, you're not the body. You're going to shed this body anyways. It's like you're the consciousness controlling the body. Go ahead, Mystic Knowledge.
Okay, you want me to talk on a prop or you want me to hop in on what y'all talking about?
Whatever you came up to discuss, like the reason why you requested up.
Well, I don't understand why you believe evolution is a lie. That's
Okay, so then, yeah, speak on that.
well, evolution within itself, it's not like hold on, it's not one straight line. You know, we don't, and then like you got a picture of a monkey up here. We don't evolve from monkeys. Monkeys are still walking around, you know, so it doesn't it don't work like that. But I was just saying, you know, I think they wasn't lying about evolution. 'Cause, yeah, I kind of understand evolution to a point where I get it. I don't know how to explain, but I don't.
Okay, so then can you explain to us how prokaryotes evolved into eukaryotes, or how we went from haploids to diploids? Because that's the basis of evolution.
So you have to understand there's been several mass extinctions on this planet. And after each mass extinction, there's a new set of basic atom makeup. I guess I would say that's on the planet afterwards. It's a new balance of things to start with, new building blocks. I believe there's been like 7 mass extinctions. I'm gonna have to double check and look it up, but from my understanding, mammals themselves came after, I believe it like the sixth mass extinction, and like I believe that's the Macedonian period. So it's not really hard to get evolution. Now what you got up, what people don't take into account is that white people and Asian people have different origins from us, from Homo sapiens. their origin stories start with Neanderthals and Denisovans. You know, there were several type of hominids that existed and were existing together, but because the black male Homo sapien is, you know, the best, we humanized everybody. You know, so I mean that's
I'm asking you how the cell came about. I'm not really asking
how
because
the
I know that
cell came about.
Neanderthals
Like I
and
said,
Asians and
how the cell
Denisovans have
came about. We
introgressed genes.
first
So I'm
started
just trying to figure out if these
with
species have introgressed genes, then where did their genetic material come together to create the organism that we're talking about? Because Neanderthals are not 100% Neanderthals and Denisovans are not 100% Denisovans.
yeah. I mean, today, you're just saying they never became eukaryotic. I mean, we're still seeing today. Well, they never became prokaryotic. We're still seeing today that their fertility and a lot of stuff is messed up.
And are you talking about the YT man and the Asian
Yeah,
man?
that's what I'm talking about too.
So they're not prokaryotic, but you're saying that
You're saying they can't
from,
become
yeah, and
prokaryotic,
you're saying that,
but eukaryotes, they are known to like the whole base premise of the evolution theory is that eukaryotes. They say that eukaryotes come from prokaryotes. So how do eukaryotes come from prokaryotes? We're not asking you the process of eukaryotes changing into prokaryotes because that's
that can never happen.
that's genetically impossible. So how did a prokaryote change into a eukaryote if you're saying the evolution theory is real? We're not talking about the organisms, just
So
the cell.
the cell, like I said, it would have been after. I got to see which one it is, but it's because of mass extinctions that happen, and it kind of that starts the world resets, I guess, in a sense, and there's a new set of biological information that's left over each time. That's not completely eradicated, I guess I would say. So,
I
But
guess I'm just trying to figure out how did a cat, a dog, a mice, celery, and yeast come together and procreate to now be within the human genome? That's what we're trying to like understand. Like these, like the Neanderthal already is a eukaryotic organism. So how did eukaryotes get here if it was only prokaryotes on the planet for billions of years? They were making replications of themselves. So where would the extra genetic material come from if Earth doesn't naturally create these eukaryotic organisms, or she doesn't naturally expand through biogenesis with creating eukaryotes? Most of, and I just have one more thing, most of the eukaryotes that we see in nature don't do anything for the environment or the planet either. So
they
why would
destroy the
she
ecosystems.
create all of a sudden animals, insects, microorganisms, and so-called humans that are now destroying her own womb?
so the from my understanding, the genetic information came from asteroids. They already made that connection. When we talk about like the periodic table, we are composed of certain building blocks of the periodic table. So when we're talking about our genetics or like or some not our but some individuals' genetics are closely aligned with other animals walking around this world is because their, I guess, atom composition is close to these things, and that's just a whole that's a whole nother thing because they got other parts of them.
Wow.
Shit, but I'm you know the
Yeah,
cell not
it's okay.
but
It sounds like you confused on the evolution theory, and you
no,
confused on
I'm not.
how.
No, asteroids is not irrelevant. They've already said that some of the atoms for DNA, the nucleoid and stuff like the different atoms or whatever for DNA, they found it on an asteroid somewhere that came and hit the Earth recently, more recently, and then they was like, "Oh shit, this is must have this shit happen."
So okay, so-called black people, we don't have animal DNA, and everybody outside of us has animal DNA. So how is it now that we are all being classified as all one human race when their nucleotides are made up of sulfur, pneumonia, and nitric oxide, which come from the same synthetic vitrosynthetic EU melanated and pheomelanated organisms like cows, pigs,
Well,
and
from
dogs.
my
They even have the same
understanding, you're
amino.
Homo sapien and they're Homo sapien sapien. I understand.
Homo sapien, it means animal man. All of that is dealing with the human race. So-called black people are not human because we don't have animal DNA. So we're not Homo sapiens. We're not Homo floresiensis. We're not Homo neanderthals. We're not none of those things because we don't share DNA with animals, and our DNA is 100% stardust. Homo
So,
sapien is not even
so
100% Homo
everything on
sapien.
this planet and
Okay, go
everything
ahead.
that is around us is 100% recycled stardust, not just humans and people. Everything.
I know that's what we're asking you when we're including all life, when we're talking about biology and the study of life. That's why we're talking about we're tying everything together. We're saying, how did the eukaryotic cell come about?
Yes, because
I will tell you,
prokaryote.
the eukaryotic cell came about after, I believe, like the fifth or sixth mass extinction that happened.
How?
How? Like, tell us
So
the
from
biological process.
material coming in, new material coming in.
How did that material come in from where?
Yeah, I respect.
Out of space? So you're telling me a pig DNA, cow DNA, dog DNA came from an asteroid, and
No,
they
I'm
got
telling
to,
you the
what are you telling
no
me?
no DNA itself. That's where we get to our eukaryotic. Like it's kind of two ways that you can use the word in a way, but that's where we get to that. Plants, they didn't have that. Plants were the first and were some of the first things on this world, you know.
No,
So
no, it wasn't.
and they don't
You know,
have
plants got melanin
they
in it,
don't
don't
have
you?
the same
Hold
type
on,
of
they
chemicals
go.
that we
No,
do.
they don't. No, that's microorganisms. Like I'm confused. I'm gonna move
I'm
on
talking
to the
about
next
Yeah,
before
question
we're
science,
gonna
because
say
you
this.
keep contradicting
actual
yourself,
Plants
and
like
I'm
have
not able to
chlorophyll.
like
really follow
Vecna,
you.
Yeah,
large.
I'm,
I'm talking about
we're
large.
asking you as
That's the
okay.
first things, you know, like a damn couple pieces of cells come together. Ain't that, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the first complex biological life forms was plants. Not just, I wouldn't say the
Oh,
bacteria and shit is complex. I don't know. That,
complex life forms are
Yeah,
eukaryotic
exactly.
life forms.
Multicellular
The
life
whole
forms.
universe is built upon the physical matter of the universe is built upon prokaryotic cells. And prokaryotic cells have been
oh, the
replicating
universe
themselves.
is built
Hold
upon
on for
atoms.
1 second. Prokaryotic cells have been replicating themselves for eons and eons of years without no traces of eukaryotes. So that means asteroids, everything that's been going that you're trying to tell me with space has been going on with prokaryotes,
Uh-oh.
and no eukaryotes was involved in that. They're only on this planet, to be honest with you. So how did prokaryote, which has no proteins, enzymes, or amino acids from no animals, has no centrals, has no histones, how did this prokaryote with no nucleus give birth to an organism with a nucleus?
This is what we're explaining. First of all, the distinction between prokaryotes and eukaryotes is considered to be the most important distinction. All right. So if we skip all of that, let's just go to the last sentence right there. Prokaryotes were the only form of life on Earth for millions of years until more complicated eukaryotic cells came into being through the process of evolution. So I know that it's kind of cut off. That's why I read that out to y'all. But the thing is that evolution is just saying that prokaryotes and eukaryotes are here. They're not explaining how eukaryotes got here. The only
Okay,
explanation
but
on the
I'm
globe,
answering it.
hold on. You
Please.
wait until we're getting ready to say the answer and then you cut us off. Respectfully, please stop. All right. The only explanation for how all of that genetic material can come together in one organism is introgression. And somebody said that the last picture that I had up was zoomed in, but that was a screenshot of just a source of many that I have, where it says in the middle of the source that Neanderthals have introgressed DNA. So how did the genetic material get there? If genetic engineering has been taking place for 200,000 to 400,000 years, how did all this genetic material get here if the Earth is not creating this through biogenesis?
What is the magnetic intelligence
I
behind
keep
it?
answering this question. Here, I'll pull something up for you. And I'm being so for real. Y'all keep saying that somebody's telling you an asteroid is irrelevant or whatever. I'm not just talking shit. The
Talk
scientists
about
did
biology.
this out the information came from asteroid, something outer.
Go back up to the top. I want to show you something. The title of that says Life's Building Blocks Discovered in Samples from Asteroid. And then that's the name of the asteroid. I want you to go through that entire thing. And I want you to pull out keywords. Which type of life is it describing? I keep telling y'all it's only two cellular form types known to man.
Listen. You asked it, how did the prokaryote create eukaryote with DNA and all this extra stuff? And I'm telling you, it didn't work like that. It was a mass extinction that brought upon the eukaryote because the mass extinction came from the asteroids. So it literally it shows right here. Japanese collaborators detected all 5 nucleobases building blocks of DNA and RNA in samples returned from asteroid Bennu by NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission. See, so it says it right there. It came from
No. You're just telling us what they did.
Yeah.
I want you to explain the type of DNA that they found. Explain to me that genetic function.
And you just told, and you just, the question that you just repeated. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. The question that you just asked, you just repeated back to us, saying that you're answering is the question of how did prokaryotes make eukaryotes. And then you said that there was a magic. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, please. Then you went on and said that it was caused by mass extinction of the eukaryotes. That's how the eukaryotes got here. So that's not what we're asking you. You're showing us how stardust creates solar system. That's what that article is telling us. You're telling us how stardust is genetics, which is black, so-called black people. We have solar magnetic DNA. So we're everybody outside of so-called black people, which is eukaryotes. How did they get here? And that's what we just asked you, and you just told us that it came from a mass extinction from eukaryotes. But we're asking you, how did they get here? What was the genetic and biological process of them forming in existence? Because everything that's natural, that has one set of chromosomes, that is a prokaryotic cell, comes naturally through existence through the vibration of 432 hertz, which is the natural resonance of nature. That's how she creates life, when molecules come together at 432 hertz. So what molecules came together to make unnatural life, holding 25,000 genes from its genetic cell that has no ties to each other? None of these animals can naturally procreate with each other in nature.
Asteroids and meteors come to Earth.
How about that?
They are a part of the same universe. So how could it be the emergence of unnatural genetic material when this is still the same still part of the same universe and a part of the same solar system? Mountains are also created from
Components
meteors.
of atoms and different groups of things, based on how things come together with gravity and such.
Exactly. Gravity is the same geological and the same magnetic force that we've been seeing for billions of years. That actually is one of the theories used to debunk evolution.
I feel like y'all might, I don't know.
1785, the geological forces talked about in the Hutton theory explains how it literally debunks evolution. That's why they teach children Darwinism instead of the Hutton theory. The Hutton theory came out 75 years before Darwin ever even formed evolutionary thought.
Okay,
He tried in 1832 and failed in 1859. The truth was already published in 1785.
I want to ask you, what's your understanding of Darwin's theory, and then the Hutton's theory? That's new to me, so I'm interested in you telling me what that is as well.
Okay.
Right.
Let me put some stuff on the screen up here about that theory. All right. That's not it. 1 second. Boom. I know it's kind of it's zoomed in. My apologies for it being zoomed in. But the Hutton theory basically talks about uniformitarianism, deep time, geological cycles, and the same processes like erosion, updrift, continental drift, which isn't really continental drift if you actually understand the theory itself, that these processes have been happening for the same over and over for billions of years. So when it comes to evolution, when it comes to cells coming together and passing on genetic material, cells don't migrate like that because, again, prokaryotes were the only form of life on Earth passing on genetic material unicellularly. The same way that we see stars are created are the same ways that we see them unalive, which is the same genetic expression that we see how Earth and planets are formed, which is the same genetic expression that we see in prokaryotes, which elephants, praying mantis all show the same geological force. All prokaryotes migrate their cells the same like we see in nature. So that's what the Hutton theory is explaining. And deep time and uniformitarianism is explaining how all things come from the same.
I just
I can't even hear you.
the genetic information for eukaryotes came later on via outer space through asteroid. That's what's been discovered. So I don't know what else to say. Shit. But when it comes, you talk about how the fuck the other people outside of black people came about. Well, this man up here says he said that we don't come from any other hominid. Okay. You know that humans today still have the same amount of hair follicles as every other great ape under the umbrella we fall under.
You know how I know that that's not true?
You can look that up.
Because of incomplete dominance. These people don't pass down the same number of genetics or the same things to each other, number one. And number two, that's only true for them because they share genetics with those animals. We're talking about the number of follicles, but what proteins make up that hair? What's the embryological origin for the organism? We can't just talk about the anatomy, right? Because when we're looking at the full anatomy of an organism, they started out as single cells, right? So it's instead of talking about why the anatomy presents itself a certain way, we have to understand why within the genome or the genetics is making that organism present the way that it presents.
Well, we're talking about presentation comes through adaptation, according to climate and geographical location. So that's a whole, that's more or less kind of how things get to look the way they look.
So you're saying that climate
are adapted to, that is very crucial to some things. I guess how it functions and what it does and how it lives is its environment. And then some things environment shapes its being, the environment shapes people's being, nature. Everything is a reflection of each other in a sense. So
all of those mass extinction level events that you talked about, were those a byproduct of nature's doings? Or was there some infiltration or some unnatural things that took place to Earth's atmosphere, to her rotation? Was there anything that was done to Earth?
It's been several. So when we're talking about mass extinctions of things. You know, the first one would have been the creation of the moon via that big ass. What's the name of the other planet that smacked Earth a long ass time ago? That would have been the first time, and then the second time would have been I believe it was like a volcanic eruption, real bad. Then we have, you know, the ice age mass extinctions, and we got I might not be doing this in order, but I know it's like 7 of them. So sometimes, yeah, like you basically named them out. Like, yeah, those were some of the events that would happen, that has happened, that caused a shift in the genetic makeup and the what we had so far as the atoms, you know, was what, because you get DNA and all of that from certain atoms. So the composition of atoms changed that was available on Earth, and how much of what, you know what I'm saying? The amount of oxygen going up or down, and the amount of this, you know, different compositions were changing as well when these catastrophes happen. So, you know, so when we get into evolution and stuff like that, different branches of life be breaking off and happening through these catastrophes because of DNA goes through like mutations in order to continue to survive. You know, animals
The
go
question that I asked you is that all
to
of
survive
those
that create
extinctions.
new things. So when we're talking about the
So I'm
different
just trying to ask you a question, all right? Because I'm just trying to ask you a question. The mass extinction level events that you're talking about, are all of these natural emergences and natural causes, or have there been unnatural things that have taken place to the planet to have caused these extinction level events?
I mean, probably both. Yeah. I would say that's like, what's that called? Esoteric knowledge that's not available to me.
It
That's
is. If you understand the difference of the Carboniferous period versus the Cretaceous period versus the Jura period,
yeah, so
and you
you
study all, hold on for,
shit.
can I speak to you? Like, can we have a conversation? It's like we keep talking at the same time, so it's like I can't hear myself, and I also can't hear you and stuff like that because your background is loud. So what I'm trying to express is that when it comes to each period that we can so-called look at, we can see unnatural things taking place in in these environments based off of how Earth naturally moves. So we can see nature, and then we can see that there's unnatural things taking place based off of things like chronobiology, right? We can look at the circadian rhythmic patterns through birds, through insects, through trees, and we can tell that unnatural things have taken place just by understanding life and biology. So when you're talking about the environment affecting DNA, yes, it can influence the genes to migrate a certain way, but it does not spark the emergence of new DNA. 40 to 60% of your IQ right now comes from your mother. The rest is being influenced by your DNA. The rest is influenced by your environment. So we can influence things to happen in nature. That doesn't mean that it's a byproduct of biogenesis, right? So that's what I'm asking you. We actually can pinpoint and tell everything that's happened to this planet because of
Prokaryotes.
prokaryotes, their memory,
They've been doing
how
the
they,
same thing on the planet for millions of years, and how they know that because it has a constant function. The Earth is gonna continue doing the same thing for eons of years. You see what I'm saying? The reason why you see artificial things or genetically modified things now is because somebody decided to go against nature and create multicellular organisms. There's been genetic splicing that's been taking place with extraterrestrials on this planet for over 400,000 years. So this is where all eukaryotes came from. You see what I'm saying? When we ask our people these questions, we can't, if we don't know a question, we can't keep trying to push it like we know. Because the faster we get to the light, the faster we get back to our children. So if you can't answer the scientific question, you got to be receptive to it. So if you don't know where eukaryotes came from, these people are not you. my mother of life. These people are not your genetically you. They're made up of animals and they were made in a lab. So they shouldn't be policing
Can
us.
I ask you a
They shouldn't
question?
be medically
I think
evaluating
that's a
us.
little bit off, but I don't.
I guess.
I don't really subscribe to certain ideologies, but I would say that the story of Yakub is fascinating. I would say, but I don't really know.
When
I
it
don't really
comes to the story of Yaqub, and you know how they said like big head scientists, like how they call him that. What's the explanation for how his head got big, or why are they saying that his head was big?
I don't know. Shit. That's why I said I'm not too deep off into Yakub and that type of ideology. My understanding of the other hominids is, or my understanding of humans is Homo Hider, whatever, but Burgoyce, how the fuck you say this shit, was the one of the oldest hominids that existed in Central Africa, long ass time ago. That was one of the first more like human like hominid when we started branching off away from other apes so far as intelligence goes. And then that hominid, when it went up into Europe 52,000 years ago, it mutated because of the environment into the Neanderthal. And then that same hominid, when it dispersed across Africa, it mutated and became the Homo sapien. That hominid, when it went up into Asia, more on the left side, it mutated and became this Denisovans. And talking about Darwinism, survival of the fittest, the Homo sapien, thus in Africa, the black men humanized the rest of the world. You know,
So we all come from black
sapien
men.
DNA through procreation, through fucking them, which is gross, but we see it all the time. Interracial dating that they promote. They promote that because we are their lifeline. They need our room because it's essential to keep their people alive, and they have been showing us
Then we're
this.
not the same people then.
We're not the same people when we're
We're
talking
not the
about
same species
who we
then.
started with originally.
Then we're
Yes.
not the same species if we're not the same people.
And if we didn't start with
We the same species now because they keep fucking us.
I never said that we were the same
Unfortunately,
species.
that's where we got it to. So
No, hold on for a second, man. I'm gonna come clean. I've been asking you, sis, the same question over and over. I haven't really been getting the right answer. I hear the facts that you're putting out, like the things that you're saying, but you're not exactly telling me. And the thing is when people come up here saying that they can tell us how evolution happened, y'all are unaware that there's no scientist on the globe that can explain evolution. It's evolutionary biologists today that cannot explain how we went from haploids to diploid because it literally never happened. We can calculate gene frequency, allele frequency. We can look at every species that is a byproduct or speciation as a byproduct of evolution. But how the change consistently or so-called consistently keeps happening, the only explanation for that is genetic engineering or introgressing genes.
well, I
So,
know that
we never willingly went to
you
procreate with these
understand
people.
that there's different periods, but you don't understand that those different periods arrive through mass extinction. I'm connected.
it's different. But when I
I'm
asked you
not answering
about,
your questions, but I feel like I'm not being too hard to follow. But
no, it's just
okay,
that the questions that I'm asking you, you're not answering. So when it comes to the mass extinction, and someone already put this
yes,
in the comments, when
that
I this, if I keep wait, okay? Damn. All right. If I'm talking and responding back to you, you can't talk over me. No one is gonna hear anything that we're saying. You gotta have respect, okay? So the thing is that you literally said out of your mouth, in my opinion, both. You didn't know. That's the thing. You never answered any of the questions that I've asked you because you don't know. And I'd rather you say that you don't know than to keep going round for round for round for round for round because you're not answering my questions. So we're not getting anywhere. That's what I'm just trying to explain to you. Now, when it comes to Yaqub, Yaqub translates to subplanter. So it's only talking about someone subplanting genetics or an entity subplanting genetics. It does not all of a sudden mean that there's a black man splicing. Now, I asked you about his head because his head being big, they're saying is due to hydrocephalus, which is a brain disease. So having an enlarged head or an abscess does not mean that you now create new species and begin to be splicing. If that's the case, why is it that nobody on the planet with hydrocephalus is splicing, but we can look and see the people that are splicing? That was on my last live. I put up at least 6 to 10 different people that were splicing, and none of them were us because it's not within our genetics to splice. So if it's not within our genome to splice, to have vitrosynthetic pheomelanin and eumelanin, if it's not within our genetics to undergo acute body radiation, how could we have created a species that is undergoing that? Where would it within our genetic material would have passed it to them to now be like that? Earth is not selecting the ass. If I go based off of everybody in here that's talking about evolution and natural selection, how is nature selecting the ass when they can't take the natural sun? And I'm getting flagged left and right now. We went hours, now I'm all of a sudden getting flagged. I'm trying to figure out if nature selected they ass, why can't they synthesize terrestrial radiation, solar radiation? Why are they undergoing acute body radiation? Why are they undergoing chromosomal deletions? Q132, Q136, SLOS phenotype 1p36. Why, if nature is selecting your ass and handpicking you, why is she also handpicking you, telling you to ride the bench? Why is she kicking your ass out and selecting you at the same time? That doesn't make sense. Nature don't move that way.
I mean, that's why I said, well, I even gave you an explanation on that, because I even talked up. I said, through, like, they be raping us and they be also trying to manipulate us to being with them. And it's been years and years and years of them doing this. I mean, that's reality. So, I mean, they, after cracking us, you say asking, like, how did they get the information to keep living?
That's not what I'm asking you. I asked you how the cell came about, but it's cool. Let's go ahead and using aptitude, and then I'll get back to you, Mystic. I just want to introduce the next guest, and then we got to add the 2 back into the conversation because he been chilling. Go ahead, amusing.
What are y'all talking about? I just want to make sure what I'm reading is what y'all are talking about.
What did you request up for? Why did you click request?
Well, it said evolution, the biggest lie ever told. So I was just curious if that was your conversation, what you're talking about.
Yep, that's what's on the board. So that's what we're talking about. Did you have thoughts on that?
Oh, sure. I could share something fun. Of course, your own thoughts, whatever you believe. I'm in school right now, and I learned something more interesting I was never told before. But similar to the Darwin theory, but not that we came from, apes or whatever, but that we simply share an ancestor with a type, one particular type of chimpanzee. But what was more interesting is how this was able to happen is because we all apparently came from fish. And it was a really, really fun thing to experience in this class. I'm not saying I believe we came from fish, but a lot of stuff that happens from the time you're in the womb, developing into actually taking your first breath. It was very interesting, and I can understand like why their theory is the way that it is. It was really interesting. Y'all should look into that.
I have looked into embryology and early fetal development across several species. So what were your interesting findings?
Oh, okay. So like when we're developing during the womb, we all look like fish to start out, right? But what was cooler is after you're born, we'd still share fish features like gills. Not everybody shows them. Some people have webbed feet, and then a fish would actually have gills. Some people would still have that in adulthood, and what it looks like on us is like literal, like a little hole um, oh, I don't know what to call it, right there in front of your ear, not on your earlobe, but like between your ear and your face, like where your ear meets, but there's like a literal hole. That would have once been a gill. So I just thought it was really
How
interesting.
did the genetic material of everything that composes that humans are already composed of now all of a sudden accept fish DNA?
You know, when I was watching this documentary from school, right, I had this little golden light moment, or this little light bulb above the head moment. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on God, but to me, like, if this really was it or whatever, it was more like, instead of disproving the creator, I think it just proved the creator more, because it was almost like seeing the creator's handiwork in everything, and that's why we all share something together.
So you saying God is what, or what are you
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so God created unnatural organisms to destroy his natural planet is what you're going with?
Oh, I didn't say that. You could see how you know, through your lenses, you could
No,
see
I'm
however you
asking you
want. I
to,
just wanted to share fun, you know, just fun fact. So
I wanted you
yeah, I
to
meant to.
just explain your thoughts because I asked you a question and you brought that up. So I just asked you to elaborate. Is that what you're saying, that God
Well,
created
you're not
unnatural
asking. Well,
organisms?
you're twisting words. So those aren't the words that come out of my mouth. But
I'm
hey,
asking
nice talking to
I'm,
you.
yeah. Again, running. I asked you a simple question. Everything that we're talking about is hybridized, introgress genes, which don't emerge from biogenesis. You brought up God, and this is a scientific discussion. So maybe you should have read the room before you came in here, with all due respect. Thank you for coming in here and sharing your thoughts, but you just threw out shit. You didn't exactly explain or answer my question on how the genetic material got into the genome, and then you brought up God. I'm not here to be friends. I'm not here to for niceties. I don't care if you follow me or agree. I'm asking you questions. If you can't answer them, you got off the panel. Thanks for your time. Go ahead, Prometheus. Like,
Hey, what up?
that is
What
crazy.
up, Skywatch? Thanks for the time, y'all. Firstly,
Mhm.
yeah, firstly, I agree. And the evolutionary theory comes from Darwin, right? But he himself didn't believe in it. And he expresses this in his, when he explains the eye and the iris, right? And basically the, like how specific our eyes are in sort of, um, monitoring and adjusting how much light comes in and how we can focus, right? And he himself in his writing says that this is beyond, it's too specific for evolution to have be for us to be the result of evolution, right? So Darwin himself, who came up with a theory, in his own writing says that yeah, he doesn't believe that evolution could have amounted to us. And then another thing about Darwin is that he was a member of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, the Knights of Malta, and that is a religious order. It's literally named the Society of Jesus. And if you look in their manifesto, a lot of the literature that they paid for to be cast out for the public was manipulation. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that if anyone's going on evolution. And another part is, I'm a brother from Africa. I'm a Negro, right? Loud and proud. And I don't believe that we have any relation to monkeys. I believe we are intergalactic beings, right? But that's not as to say that some people, you know who, might not be some kind of Yakub story. And you can watch this in a movie called The Island of Moreau, with Marlon Brando, right? Where they explain the origin of the of a certain type of people who have who clearly have um no intimate relationship with the animals of this earth or the planet. The natures of destruction. They learned how to fly or build airplanes, and within 30 years, they were dropping bombs from them. And that's just their
F1,
nature.
we can't say the BOMB word, F1 in the chat. Gratitude
All
for
right.
expressing your thoughts and visions. Go ahead, the two. Go ahead and get back in the conversation. Gratitude for being patient. We'll get to Mystic and keep the conversation going.
Yeah, I was just listening to what the brother was saying. And I was also listening to what Mystic was saying, and really all I was about to say is that it's so crazy how us as melanated individuals, even though we at times disagree, we all do. I think all can agree on the fact that what I'm saying, there are things that they are not like us in no type of way, and I think that that's the preliminary basis of the conversation. And the only other people that are not agreeing with us is people that are not us. So that's just pretty much what I wanted to add to the conversation about. And I'm standing with what I said, that evolution is the biggest lie ever told. Really, I'm just sitting here learning, getting some knowledge and listening to y'all perspectives on everything. So I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm gonna let y'all speak.
Gratitude and abundance. Let's see, Mystic. Is there something that you wanted to add or say? I'm
I just wanted to say that I might have my own understanding of evolution. Maybe that's what it is. But I like I said, they have different origin stories. So no, they not us. No, they is whole different. They Neanderthals and Denisovans and derivatives and shit like that. But that's a whole another thing. Black people don't have none of that at all. So I get what y'all saying, but I don't know. I'm just here. Okay, I'm
yeah. Is it?
just listening more. I'm gonna listen going
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying or trying to say. It's just not. It's contradicting itself because if you don't understand the base premise of evolution and everything that it suggests and every theory that it comes with, then you probably don't understand evolution like you should. That's the thing. That's why we ask people like, okay, explain to me endosymbiosis. Okay, explain to me how the eukaryotic cell came about. Because if you understand the basis, then you understand that these people were never us. That the change never happened. If you can definitively say that these people are not us, then evolution never happened. So I want to address like the comments for a second because some people are saying like, oh, evolution happened for evolution never happened for every single living organism on the planet. It could not have happened for them. That means that this everything that you've been agreeing with is false then. That's what I mean by we not understanding evolution. We think we understand it, right? And that's why it's easy to sway an entire masses because we're not looking into the theories. We're going based off of what they're saying. We're going based off of Darwin instead of looking at Darwin's work. Well, if you look at Darwin's work, you can debunk him on your own. You don't need to have a degree. You don't need to be a scientist. You just need to understand the basis of everything being discussed. And that's something that we don't understand as a community. The other thing, somebody said in a past live, like, oh, they're all genetically white. No, they are not. They have incomplete dominant introgress genes. White is not 100% white. You see what I'm saying? Dravidians are not 100% Dravidian. So I keep driving this home. The more we understand DNA, the more we pick up books, the more we look at documentaries, the more we sit down with the information, have the right conversations with each other, we will see the truth. But if you think that you can just listen to a conversation and think you have it all figured out, that's why some of y'all been in here for a year plus and still can't articulate this on your own. And it's no shade. But our base premise is that whatever is the truth, we got to pass it to the next generation. And so if you're not actively studying the truth, what are you passing to children? And we can look at the comments and can tell what our thoughts are as a community. We can look at our reposts, the things that we share. We could tell we not focus on the truth. We focus on the matrix. That's why nobody know.
Yep. And like the brother said, he said, the most of our people know that we have some sense that we're not the same as them. So why are we confused on where to go in life except from separating and not participating in anything that they hand us? That's what I want to
Yeah.
know. If we're already knowing that these people are not us, how are we allowing their thoughts to govern our thoughts and our physical state? You see what I'm saying? Why are we not detaching from these people?
Exactly.
Why are we not why don't we just stop participating in the financial systems, in the belief systems, in the medical systems, in the school systems? We don't need them to observe the natural world, to be aware of the natural world. We don't need them to get water. We don't need them for gas. We don't need them for electricity. That all is given to us by the earth.
Yeah.
Only by the hands of the greedy does anything on this planet have a fee. So why aren't you learning how to be free by opening your mind, by mastering your mind? Being in your purpose is admiring nature, is being observant of nature. That's what it is. That's what being in walking in your purpose is. Oh, gratitude be for pollinating that dandelion right there that I'm going to eat later. Oh, gratitude, dragonfly for pollinating that flower right there. Oh, gratitude, apple, for giving me the right vitamins and nutrition that I needed today. But we just use nature all the time and we don't show no appreciation.
Exactly.
You don't show no appreciation to your own self. You don't show appreciation to your own brother and sister, which means the system has won. And the system is made to what? Suppress your generous heart because they know you're the divine creators. They know that if you allow your generous heart to flow again, if you allow that inner child to flow again, you will start to create planets again. You will start to create solar system again, just a will and thought. That's why they have to keep you in so much stress. That's why they have to keep your lymphatic system and your lymphatic system clogged. That's why they got to fill you up with antigens
Exactly.
to keep you at 25 hertz, which is the hertz of an unalived organism.
Cook.
You see what I'm saying? We're thinking at beta wavelength, at an unalived wavelength. We should be thinking at gamma or above, which is where the Earth is heading. The Earth is not vibrating at 7.83 no more.
Yep. We
That
not
human
at.
resonance, that conscious resonance, her magnetic fields has been vibrating faster, and her magnetic fields is her nervous system. And that's how we used to connect to the planet. That was our app to connect to the planet, to talk to each other through telepathy. You see what I'm saying? No, we're constantly trying to find on the phone what app can we only black people talk to. This is their phone. This is military equipment. This was made to track you. But if we all start to open our extrasensory perception, we can all speak to each other and not even have to move a lip.
And I mean that. Like that right there, I think y'all
Already
be
do
trying to
that.
like, you know what I'm saying, downplay that. But the thing about it is me and Zell operate off of telepathy all the time. Not even trying and now it's starting to become like, all right, so you already knew I was thinking that. And it's not just because we're in the same house or anything like that. I have strength in telepathy with my grandmother. I have strength in telepathy with my family. It's all about being on the same mental plane and channeling energy and understanding your brain and how thoughts influence your reality.
Yeah.
When you hold those thoughts and you put intensity behind those thoughts, they must show in your reality. So when you are thinking about people and they call you or they text you or you see them, that's because of waves.
Quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement. One particle in this part of the universe is directly being affected by another atom in another part of the universe. So when we start understanding these things and giving energy to it, it's not taboo and it's not mysticism. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Now, I said all of that to say, how is it that we understand this universal knowledge, but still saying that the Africans ain't us? Let me ask it again. How do we understand all this universal knowledge, but then we'll say that the Africans ain't us? Oh, I'm Black American. Oh, they not the same as me. We not the same, or we don't have the same culture. Everything that we consider to be culture is merely cultivation. Name it. Religion, language,
Yeah, that's what we do.
food.
Everything we touch,
Yeah, so those
Midas
are
touch.
things that have
Let's go.
cultivated us to think a certain way. Those things don't stem from our genetics. The pyramids, the megalithic structures, the Woodhenge, the Stonehenge, these natural caves that mimic the vaginal canal are all showing that we had the same genetic expression and moved as a global civilization. So we're sitting here talking about, oh, well, it's more pyramids in America than it is. But is there pyramids on the globe, though, all over the globe? So that means that we moved as a global civilization. We got to start expanding our thinking, understanding that it's pyramids and pyramidal structures being created through sound. It's pyramids that you can't even see with the naked eye. Earth's rotation was knocked off 40.4 degrees. So whereas you think that there's more pyramids in one so-called landmass versus another, is it supposed to be like that? Where are you in the solar system? Because last time I checked, those pyramids were meant to channel energy from other stars. So
And that's why I
I
was gonna say it's so important that you're saying this, is because at the end of the day,
Brother, can I
they have
jump in real quick? Just
okay,
to
wait until he's done and then you can go. Go ahead, the
Yeah,
two,
I
and
was
then we'll
about to
get to
say,
Prometheus.
at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? It's so important to understand that, because through division, we through it's strength in numbers, and through division, we are weaker. Through division, we are not able to stay on their ass like we supposed to, because of the lies that they told us. You know what I'm saying? Because of the things that they have done to make us not believe that our brothers and sisters are our brothers and sisters. And the biggest thing that you can do is make brothers and sisters fight against each other, because when brothers and sisters fight against each other, they can't get on the same page and destroy, well, not necessarily destroy, but come against the enemy in the way that it should be. You know, we should come against the enemy in the ways that we should.
Facts, which is through telepathy.
And
Uh,
our original culture is electromagnetism.
facts.
All so-called black people throughout the entire planet use electromagnetism to create whatever they want to create in their reality.
Neuromelanin.
Okay,
Facts.
I wasn't fucking tripping because I was thinking that too. Because mind you, y'all, I was just connecting the dots on the shit about the heart producing the electromagnetic field, how you can move shit with an electromagnetic field. And I was sitting here like, that's how niggas was doing that shit. I was
Because we were
yes,
using
yeah, okay.
100% of our
I
brain,
feel
and
like
now we're only using
that's
2 to
yeah, yeah.
5%.
I need to see what else y'all talk, because some of the stuff I'm like a little bit like, but the other shit I'm like, yes, okay. It's not your birthday yet. You got 2 more weeks. But
Facts. So the thing is like, we gotta connect all science together now. Prometheus, I know you wanted to speak. I just wanted to address something in the comments. See, someone said maybe because the Africans are not really African, they were placed there. Like, can y'all come up to the panel and explain what y'all mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do y'all mean? Do y'all really believe the white tea people will paint black people on the ceilings of Europe? That sound like a eukaryotic. We're the original BOK Europeans. We're still here. All right, that's somebody else. Never mind. I thought that was, like
hey,
one of our
okay,
people's
I got
beings
hey,
or
Prometheus.
something.
can
Yeah.
I?
In the room.
I
Go
just
ahead,
wanted
Africans
to.
in
Prometheus.
Japan. I
All
got
right.
people all of that. Africans in Rome,
Um.
Africans
Go
in
ahead,
Greece,
Prometheus.
Africans in Japan,
Yes.
prehistorics, the whole
It
back
sounds like
to base.
someone else is speaking right now. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I just wanted to add to like what our brother was saying early on. Um yeah, there were several things, but essentially nothing creative has come from the YT people, right? That includes religion, especially spiritual, anything spiritual. So science, they didn't come up with anything scientifical. They didn't come up with anything spiritual, right? And we can look. I'm touching on several topics. I hope I can speak with clarity. And basically, the new drive. I don't know if you guys have noticed this new wave of Americans separating themselves from African origin. This is like a new thing. This started like maybe even a year and a half ago, and it's all over your For You page. right? And these this new narrative of life started in America. And as far as I'm concerned, these are all paid government agents, as far as I'm concerned. But back to facts, right? Something I can prove. So we have in in Egypt, in Africa, right, in the temple walls, which are thousands of years old, right, in the valley of the Set I1, right, there there's a book written by Gerald Massey. It's called The Book of the Beginnings, and if you go to page 27 of volume 1, right, what Gerald Massey did is he went and he's a prolific this translator of hieroglyphs, and essentially what we have in the temple walls is a description of 4 different base people on earth, right? And the YT people are described there as the Tamahu. Tama meaning created, and Hu meaning people. So the created people, right? And this is in temple walls that are thousands of years old, which is So we have our own history and records that describe where it comes from. So we don't have to look to the late YT man when we try to find out who they are, because we've already left that for ourselves to find. Another thing is that I think the idea, telepathy as being used, the greatest technology that we have is our mind, right? And as far as traveling, as far as communication, the fastest and the most efficient way that we used to travel, it's also environmentally friendly for all the yoga, environmentally friendly, right? Clean energy is we didn't need cars. We could visit people telepathically, right? And we could communicate telepathically as well. And this is done mostly through our dreams. So as soon as us as people, us as brothers and sisters, learn how to fall asleep, right? Learn how to fall asleep. That's when we'll truly be able to explore the mind. Right now, we don't control the way we fall asleep. We just let our mind run, right? And I think largely in the Western society, we've been brainwashed to think that you live in the life when you fall asleep watching the telly, right? So that at work the next day, you have that topic of small talk conversation at work because you watched the episode of Dallas last night, or whatever the case may be, Smallville, or whatever, Vampire Diaries, right? You get the drift. But essentially, what we're doing is, if we believe that we live in a holographic universe, right? Which you can read in a book by Michael Talbot, right? Where he describes how the reality that we're living in today, or in our awakened state, is in fact a hologram, as much as our dreams are, right? So if we learn how to fall asleep and not be thinking about all of the stress we had in the day, what better rebuttals you could have had in an argument, or what your boss is complaining about regarding the speed of your productivity, right? If we're not thinking about that, but instead, firstly, clearing our minds and falling asleep in a neutral, with our brains not being active, in a meditative state, what we'll do is we'll be able to see travel beyond the speed of light, as you guys were talking about the particles that so traveling in faster than the speed of light, experiencing things like deja vu, and getting visions of the future and of the past. And then another higher level is to actually visualize what we'd like to happen the following day, right? And in that way, we'll be able to program our lives, right? Instead of contributing to a collective dream, right? In the collective consciousness, like the experiments where they teach 15 apes something, and then instantly all the apes in the next generation already learned that, right? So we have proof of collective consciousness even in animals, right? And we have that in humans too. So when we're watching all of these movies like James Bond or whatever the case may be, blockbusters, right? And you have a large group of people all around the world watching the same movie, right? That's predictive programming. And I'll leave it at that. I've touched on enough topics for now. Dropping the mic or passing it to everybody else. One love, y'all.
Gratitude and abundance. I'm not really sure what you like when you requested up here. Were you agreeing with the prompt or were you disagreeing? Like I get all the books and the stuff that you were talking about. It's just I never got your take on the prompt, or I don't remember it.
I disagree. Hell no. Yeah, I started off by saying that Darwin didn't even believe in evolution. And he wrote this by saying that the I is too specific and could not have been a result of evolution. So I strongly disagree. Darwin even disagreed and put it in writing. Anyone
Okay.
can read the part that he says about the I. It's clear as day.
Okay, gratitude for that. So, just a quick recap. We talked about the Hutton theory, which explains the same geological forces and magnetic forces that have been happening at the beginning of so-called time for billions of years are the same geological and magnetic forces that we see happening today. So when it comes to evolution, explaining the emergence of eukaryotes and how they just got here as a byproduct of spontaneous generation, this is not a natural emergence that we would see take place in nature. The only reason why we see these things is because there is something that is unnatural that has taken place to the atmosphere for over 200,000 to 400,000 years. And again, we can look at speciation, which the brother just explained. Speciation is talking about these new species that come about as a byproduct of evolution. When we look at these species and understanding their genetics, it debunks evolution. This is not a slow and gradual process or change happening over so-called time, because these animals, we're trying to figure out, where did this cell come from? So before we can talk about the animals, before we can talk about the species, we have to figure out, where did the cell come about? There's no scientist on the globe that can explain the origin of the eukaryotic cell outside of introgression, which is where you take genetic material from multiple species and they are fused together using a medium of hybridization. And there are several types of hybridization. I have a YouTube video that breaks down magnetofection, just understanding the basics, just going over the definition, right? We've talked about electroporation, using UV light and electrical impulses to fuse genetics together. And the thing is when we look at microorganisms, when we look at plants, animals, and insects, and when we look into the genome, these things could not have naturally procreated amongst themselves and can only point to genetic engineering. That's the base premise of what this live and what my page is about. Understanding nature is what will help us understand that the greatest currency is each other. So it's like, I see a lot of our people on these apps every day talking about these titles. We're the Tartarians, we're the Tamari, we all have the same embryological origin, no matter the title. The title is not telling me anything about your genetics. We are all genetically the same because we all have the same cellular form type and emerge from the same cell, right? We pass down information and genetic information the same through the mitochondria, the grandmother to mother to daughter. Whatever the mother is the determinant of the species, no matter how they look phenotypically. So again, we heard people in here today trying to say dark, dark this, dark that. What type of dark? Is this dark neuromelanin? Is this dark eumelanin? Is this dark pheomelanin? What's the genetics? All right, let's start having discussions about biology and let's put race to the side. Having discussions about race is what keeps this system going. Right.
Yeah.
Talking about money is what keeps the system going. Thinking that you need reparations or anything from these people is what keeps the system going. Right. So we have to rely on nature. You can create electricity from nature. You need to understand crystals and rocks. All right. You need to understand electricity. You need to understand electrons. Right. You need to understand atoms. Right. So if we're willing to go away and from this system, we also have to be willing and open to understanding science, which is the exploration and the study of the natural world. So it's like our people keep talking about we need black Walmarts. Black Walmarts is nature. You keep trying to put a face of black people on some shit in this system, and it's never going to work because the system is the base model for our destruction. So it's like y'all keep trying to put a Band-Aid on some shit that it's nowhere we're going to be able to go. It's no place. As many of these weather anomalies and things begin to amp up, there's going to be nowhere you can run and go to. Where these YT people don't have a place to run to on the planet. The sun, terrestrial radiation reaches the deepest cave. So it's no place that they're going to be able to go. And that goes for us as well. You don't need to go to another planet or excuse me, another landmass or escape here or go here or go. It's all the same womb. If you're aligning your energy and your frequency to match her resonance, then you will begin to see the shift and be able to shift properly with the planet. You don't need anything outside of yourself. What we need as a people is more knowledge of self and understanding of ourselves and the planet. When you gain more of that, I can promise you from my own experience, there's nothing outside of yourself that you will need. Harnessing our minds is the greatest things that we can do, and that's the greatest thing that we can do to pass to our children. Right now, we passing down indoctrination. Nobody knows who the fuck they are. New titles come about every day. Now they saying that the American Indian indigenous Solani. I seen that shit today. I said, now they putting 4 fucking titles together and none of this is telling us about who we are. The children are going to be extremely confused in the next 2 to 3 years if we don't get a grip.
Yep. And like she said, this system was built off of our destruction. It's literally built to traffic children.
That's it.
This system is only built to traffic children. So everything that you're doing to fuel the system, you're helping children getting trafficked. So if that doesn't make you want to stop right there, if that doesn't make you want to learn yourself right there, and knowing that learning yourself detaches you from this system, then we know your mind and you're going to have to recycle. We just going to have to keep moving forward because we have to make sure that the next generation has the truth. We cannot pass down lies.
Yeah, we gotta
will not do that.
We gotta be able to take ownership and dominance on our planet, and we can't do it from a place of fear. That's why if you're fearful right now, you need to be facing that fear every day, so that way that shit can stop lowering your vibration and weighing you down. Because fear can't go into the next generation. For what's coming, you can't be fearful to go out in nature and get what you need. You have to understand that you're one with nature. When you're walking on the grass, you're literally walking on Earth's integumentary system. Just below that grass is roots, which are Earth's nerves. And she communicates through the mycelium network through the nerves. So when you come in contact with that ground, there's a negative ionic charge that is emitted, which creates a nerve stabilizing sequence throughout the body, because that's what the earth and the planet naturally does. So you have to align your energy, right? You got to put that meat down. If you're still eating meat, you're twice removed from the truth. I'm going to just keep it a buck. You're still eating meat. If you're still eating hybridized fruits and vegetables, if you still don't know what came from the earth and what didn't, you need to learn that shit now. If you're still holding on to religion, if you're on the fence, then that means you're choosing the shit too. So you either got to get with it or it's got to get lost. This double-mindedness is the reason why we're in the mess that we're in right now.
And the
And we
planet
watch
moving
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
y'all behind
can I
Yeah,
just
vibrationally.
jump
facts.
in
So
and
we just have to understand that if we're not matching the resonance of the planet, if we're not trying to align with high vibrational frequencies like authenticity, gratitude, and holding that, then we're not manifesting that for each other, right? So we cannot think about the negative things that are coming, right? We have to think about how this is the greatest. We've gone through many enlightenment periods, right?
Many golden
Many
ages.
golden ages. This is not our first. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Absolutely, and I'd just like to back up what our brother was saying and what you just said, Skywatch. So when our brother was talking about this system being built on child trafficking, you can read a book called "The Missionaries: God Against the Indians" by Norman Lewis, and that book was written by basically you can check it out for yourself. Long story short, it was written by a guy who was a wealthy YT man, and he traveled around the world, basically in the time before colonialization happened, right? And he documented what he saw. So if you'd like to know what people and life was like pre Inquisition and pre-colonialism, you can read this book, and basically it just gives the breakdown of how religion, the Abrahamic religions, are based in child trafficking, right? In the missionaries, and that links also to what Skywatch was saying now. If you're still following religion, right? If you pick up the books and just analyze them yourself, right, you'll realize that all of the Abrahamic religions are deeply flawed, right? In Christianity, you'd have human sacrifice, right? You have the demiurge or the God of the Christians, who literally sacrificed his own son. So, I mean, if you down and, promotes eating his flesh and drinking his blood. So if you're down with that type of thing, then, you know what I mean? You already know what type of person you are. And then also, speaking of child and adult sexual
Yeah, we gotta get off the
sexuals.
topic. I'm gonna come clean because I keep getting flags every time we say these words. That's why I've been trying to land.
He said it
All
And
right.
etiquette.
yeah, so I'm gonna
Yes.
go ahead and shut it down because I didn't even get my last live because of all the flags. So I'm trying to save this and get something put out on YouTube because it's been a minute. So
Yep, that's why we haven't
it's
been posting
just
the lives on
because they've
YouTube,
been
y'all. They've
taking
been
them.
TikTok been taking them left and right. So
We gotta use TikTok friendly language as much as we can, but I know in a conversation like this it gets challenging.
I
But
can do better. I can do better. So what I was trying to say is that
I got you. What I'm saying is I'm finna have to end the live because my restriction is 10 minutes and I've got 3 minutes left. They could not approve the appeal and I don't get my live. So I gotta be gone. That's what I'm saying.
abundance and
So
gratitude to everybody
gratitude,
coming
y'all.
in. We'll keep